Yeah, we are.
That's why we call it what we call it.
Hey.
I can't see nothing on
Hey,
the
well,
screen.
if we gotta make corrections,
we good.
Yep.
We good. Hey, thank y'all for bearing with us. Welcome back to the To Be Fair Show. I am your host, Johnny P. Old head rail.
It's Q.
And we back. Appreciate y'all for tapping in. Definitely want to before we kick it off, please, hit the notification button, like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on the To Be Fair Show. We on Facebook, we on TikTok, we on Threads, and we on the gram. It's the To Be Fair Show.
And Johnny is repurposing.
No, not yet.
How's it just? We talked about it last week. I just wanted to make sure we started off letting them know.
Not yet.
My bad.
We got a good one lined up for the boys. Old head couldn't be present today, so we send
let's go to old head's camera.
We'll cut him in
right there. You go.
Hey, I want to send love to my boy. Godspeed to him. But
yeah,
hey,
bro, much love, man.
We gonna definitely hold it down in your presence.
Yep. Merch alert.
Yo, you see him? I'm repping PWI over here, but what we got, Tone? Kick us off into some memes.
Yeah, we gonna start with Tone actually. Where you wanna when you wanna throw us to?
I actually had something, man. Like we're gonna start with the Pledge of Allegiance today, right? This is just a funny video. It ain't nothing big. We're gonna start with the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of Tingle Maker, and to the fucking elections on nation, on the God, and the biscuit, with the biscuit fun. Behind all your heart.
Oh, Lord.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of Tingle Maker, and to the fucking.
She say Tingle America, bro. I'll try to join Tingle America.
That's good.
That's what I would have joined. Yeah, shoot. Y'all doing rock, paper, scissors for videos?
We can. Actually, look like we got two sent in from the audience. Let's start with that. Shout out to T Free. We got T Free. It looks like he just sent us in one all the way up to the top.
Oh yeah, shout out that boy Free. That's my dog.
Okay, now that you say that, you think women should vote. Can you spell Miami? Can you spell it?
Oh Lord.
M.
Yeah.
I.
Don't look at the phone.
E.
Yeah.
F. I.
Yeah. So that's exactly why women shouldn't vote. It's a 5-letter word, and we're in the city, and there's signs everywhere, and she just spelled it wrong. Like the easiest letter of the 5, she couldn't get right. Okay, now that you say that, you think women should vote. Can you spell Miami? Can you spell it?
Hey, yeah, that was pretty funny.
No, that's very interesting. Very interesting. I don't know how she got an E though. I don't know. I don't know. It don't matter what language you speak. You shouldn't put an E. Spanish, for I don't know where the E came from.
I've been seeing people blame the education system too. It's not just the education system.
She ended it with FI too. That's crazy.
That's her parents, bro. That's her parents' fault, bro. She can't spell Miami. She making her parents look bad, bro.
Right, but that was a foreign jump, though, right?
Was it?
She said,
now that you say that, you think women should vote. Spanish, can you spell Miami? Can you spell it?
Letter thing.
M.
Yeah.
I.
Yeah.
E.
Yeah.
F. I.
Yeah. So that's exactly why women shouldn't vote. It's a 5-letter word, and we're in the city, and there's signs everywhere, and she just spelled it wrong. Like the easiest.
I give her that. She's not from here.
Yeah. But that is one of those ones for me that makes like the fresh and fit a little tough. Is that it's really easy to make women that aren't educated look dumb. So like imagine like you got stats and everything lined up and you're having a debate with her.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a watch.
It kind of felt like he was picking on her a little bit.
Well, that's what it is. Like when you're of a higher intelligence level and you get on these conversations with people that ain't on your same level. It's like the senior going playing with freshmen. And just dropping 30 every game and then coming back being like, look how nice I am.
Being a senior averaging 30 on JV.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, come on, bro, chill out.
Yeah.
Chill out.
Nah, I got you. Yeah, I think Mr. Eason, Keith, shout out to Keith. He sent one in too.
All right, let's go there. Of course, it want to go wrong while we on live. We on F it, we'll do it live. Matter of fact, it's right here.
And I come back and I get like, I had some likes on my Instagram, you know, and I'm like, oh, this might be. Okay, in the suburbs, so yeah, drive about 45 minutes to me. Then the rest is history, man. So
you was really the catch in.
I always say the men the catch, man. I always say we the catch. Man.
The women that won't do this are too prideful for a relationship anyway. The women who don't do this or won't do this are too prideful for a relationship with a man of this caliber. You don't qualify for him if you think he has to put you on a pedestal. A woman who is willing to do this also understands that he is the catch, even though she is a prize. Ooh. Men of this caliber are right to operate on choosing signals. Trust me, these men have more women sending them choosing signals than you have high-value men to pick from. It's a numbers game, ladies. 10% of the men in this country fall into the income status of 6 figures or more. And I need you to understand, if this offends you as a woman, look at your left ring finger and see what's over there and see what's over there. It's empty as French toast.
I don't even get that.
I
don't even what's that mean? Empty as French toast.
I'm sure he wanted to curse. That's probably what that meant. That's what I'm a personally guess. I don't know what y'all feel about that.
I mean, I think Brett got the right to feel that way. And like you said, being a catch and the prize are two different things. They can both be like, ain't gotta be like mutually exclusive. You could be the catch and she can still be the prize. And I think a healthy relationship, both people should have that kind of.
Should both feel as though they're the catch and the prize.
And one should feel like a prize, one should feel like a catch. I think that's how you build healthy and, real true teamship and bonds. Like both people gotta have that energy.
Yeah. I don't know, Tone, how you feel about that?
Bro, I don't feel no way about it. I'm tired of that conversation. I swear. Like, bro, it's the same thing. I'm like, it's got to a point where it's like, okay, yeah, we done heard it all.
Hey, listen,
expressed all the grievances. I'm tired of fresh and fits and all of the jokes, bro.
You actually hit. This was gonna be. Well, I sent some memes of that recently, but we hadn't gotten around to it. But 19 Keys did make a post that said something similar to like, 2024. Can we end the what is it?
The gender wars.
The gender wars,
yeah.
or something. Bro. In which I actually agree, and I think that the issue is that people haven't been creative enough to find better relationship questions. So like it's almost like we just keep circling back to the exact same relationship question over and over and over, as if we haven't already answered these questions and got to a conclusion over and over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
In which, like, I think that. So if I will indulge, because this is actually going viral. So I mean, why not? I think that Simone Biles, and what's Cuz's name?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
He played for either the Bills or the Titans.
So we'll just call him football man.
Football player.
We'll call him football man. So Simone Biles and football man. Like, it's that scenario in itself. It's so much of like a rarity in which, all right, so I'm gonna call it like really as it is, right? So to me, Simone Biles has to chase him as like the football player guy, right? And that's kind of what like that whole scenario was talking about. Primarily because of one, Simone Biles is not traditionally what you would call an attractive woman, in which a guy of his caliber is going to be looking for. Meaning she's like 4'10", and like she has like a little like she has like a weird gymnast build, in which like
that's harsh. I didn't think of that. Like,
but
that's a little harsh.
But this is reality. So like the guy. So
hey, bro, you went in. But you said she was built like a man and everything. Like she's a manly woman.
I mean, that's I feel you. I feel what you're saying, but
again, all right. So, but to me, like to continue building it, but she also has money and clout, and so the average guy that she's going to get with, she probably has a lot of vetting of like, why are you with me? I'm an Olympic gold medalist, but again, like I'm 5'2", but I want to date 6'4" football athlete men. For her to get that, because they're not going to be looking for her, to be honest.
Yeah.
She has to shoot the shot. It just is what it is. That's just the way that works. Because he is also really successful in his field. I'm sure she could have got a bunch of 6'4" good-looking men that fuck with her because she was a gymnast, but they might not be a football player.
That's just finance managers,
right? Finance
IT guys,
right. She could go crazy inside that. But if she specifically is going to get a really, you know what I mean, like wealthy / attractive / like popular person, she's going to have to chase specifically the way that's set up. But it's not really often that women have clout and notoriety that also aren't really beautiful women. So then I would say name them. Most women with clout, notoriety, and attention.
Lizzo.
All right, so now name another, because Lizzo is the low-hanging fruit. Now name another. Because of most women are entertainers, they're actresses, they're influencers, they're all things in which their monetary value is based off of their beauty. Where with her, she's a world-renowned gymnast that was just so much better than everybody that we kind of had to know her. If you seen her Dougie, you understand why he had to be the prize. I don't know if y'all know that.
Yeah.
But but again, like to me,
Dang, right? No, I see the Dougie.
I should have pulled up her Dougie, but not. So, but to me, like if we extrapolate that in general, I be thinking like I don't be understanding where the current conversation be at, because of, to an extent, what Kevin Samuels was saying is that women, like you want to get to a high enough value to where women hunt and chase you, right? But then I also understand that like the conversation inside that exact same space is the fact that guys should want to guys want to hunt and chase women. So I don't understand, like to me it's like such a contradiction of predator and prey, to where I don't know, to me a lot of times this is a good throw to a conversation that we'll be having later. Niggas just be saying shit, and I think that's a conversation in which I think a lot of that red pill shit is y'all just be saying shit.
And I do agree. Yeah, I think people definitely be just. I don't think people listen to the things or think about the things they're about to say before they say them. I think they end up saying something that they might not even agree with, or even like if they think about it, truly feel, but you didn't. Lights then came on, you got nervous, you started saying shit, and now you got to stand on it because it's on the internet, and a lot of people ain't got the pride to say I was wrong or I don't agree with what I said there. I thought about it, and this is how I really think. So I think that happens too. People just get caught.
Yeah. They gotta wear it. So before we get into another meme, I do want to ask, or I'd like to get y'all reaction. I heard over the weekend the news broke that Black Santa was at Diddy house. How y'all feel about that?
Who's Black
Santa? Man, boy, you wild, bro. You wild, Santa, bro. Boy.
You call him Black Santa, bro.
Hey, man, right before, bro, it's 2 days. Hey, come on, man.
How they find Black Santa at Diddy? Is Diddy house like
that man trying to slide in some chimneys?
Man, bro.
Did he have the chimney slid? That's the sad. I think they were saying his chimney was getting slid down. Pause.
Hey, thank
you. Yeah, that was a necessary one. But I don't know. I think that there's a bunch of different ways that this conversation could go.
Let me jump in here. Cause when I saw that, cause we almost like we had the conversation last week about cancel culture, and a thing I didn't say, I left here and I was like, "Damn it, should have said this."
Yeah,
but
what you could have said,
if we gonna start canceling people because of the things they do outside of their art or outside of, the thing that they give the world, their talent, we'd have to cancel everybody because ain't none of us perfect. And if you judge all of us by our worst moment, everybody. But It's not.
My bad. I gotta let you get it off. Get it off.
It's not because ain't nobody. Everybody done did some shit that ain't right.
Nah, there's a difference between doing like basic moral, like quote unquote sins and like raping people and killing people and trafficking women. Maybe I'm the only one, but I specifically have never raped, trafficked, domestically abused.
Maybe I'm the only one. Like I was
Johnny going crazy right now.
I ain't saying that, but all I'm saying is I ain't God. I don't judge. I don't necessarily I don't necessarily. I ain't got. I don't sit and cast judgment on people based on the worst thing they did.
I
and
cast judgment on shit that I know for sure that you did that's egregious. I specifically do. I am not hanging out with a rapist. I'm sorry. I am casting.
Hey, the dude
judgment.
ain't raped nobody though.
No,
that ain't what he was alleged.
I'm not speaking about.
We're using words like that too.
I'm not specifically speaking about a person. If I have a friend that is a rapist, I'm not hanging out with you. I am casting judgment.
Yeah, you're not a friend anymore.
You're not a friend. Like if you are abusing women, I am not hanging out with you.
Okay,
I am casting judgment.
Okay, I agree with that. You shouldn't be around people like that. But to say that the thing they did no longer has value, I don't necessarily agree with that. And like I say, there's a lot of people we could go back years and a lot of stuff we wouldn't be able to listen to. A lot of the things that the people who founded this country on were bad people, but the thing that they left had merit. That's why we even like when it comes to the Constitution and this stuff, people separate that. Those were bad people because they were racist, but this thing that they did actually has value and we can use it and we can take that and use it. You're separating the man and his deeds from what he has left the world. And that's all I'm saying. I ain't trying to support nobody that did nothing. I ain't with that, but to me, to look at to take an accusation or to see what somebody's done and then be like, well, I don't like that song no more. If you've liked it before, like even with like R. Kelly, everybody knew what he was doing for years, and we didn't cancel the music. Dave Chappelle was picking at him for years. We didn't cancel the music, but all of a sudden, once a judge say he did it, now we can cancel. But everybody knew this about R. Kelly, and we were still listening to his music. But we were still listening to his music.
I think that some things that when it's not refutable, it kind of hits a little bit differently. We spoke about this last week where it's compartmentalization. Usually if something is vague enough or like if there's some reasonable doubt, people will find a way to justify listening to something. When it stops becoming a space of reasonable doubt and it is like literally true and it is provable and verifiable, I think more people tend to get away from those things. I know that, again, like for me, I didn't really pay attention to it until after, the conversation and then thinking through like afterward. Everybody that in general, so for me, I specifically do not listen to people that have did things that are against my moral code if I can verify it being true. And I gave the example of Michael Jackson where with him, there is some compartmentalization, and I can admit that because it is vague enough to where I can justify. If it ever comes out to a point where it is proven for a fact that Michael Jackson has I won't listen to him. There's people that I enjoy listening to their stuff. I personally, if it is not up to my moral code, I would just stop listening to it.
So the thing with Michael Jackson, let's go to him.
Okay.
We know what he was doing just because you can't what you mean if it's not proven?
Again, I've heard. So
come
again,
on, man, come on. He went to court and the feds was after him for years.
He settled the first time.
Bro,
he settled the first time. That's what Diddy just did.
It's way too much gray. It's way too much.
Yeah, if they really wanted to shut him down, they had evidence. They would have shut him down, bro.
So what's the evidence? What's the difference between the evidence against R. Kelly versus MJ? We both had accusers.
R. Kelly had a whole documentary done.
So did Michael Jackson.
Bro, they did a documentary after he died. Michael Jackson. And he couldn't even protect himself. Like they did a documentary after he died, and then they came out and said they lied.
There we go. And I was just about to say that. Like there is a huge difference to it. Truthfully, R. Kelly from the tapes to now, there is a complete line of of a consistent action over an extended period of time that is provable and verifiable and has been verified. Like, that's the biggest difference. Again, and that's why I say, like, I can admit
footage of from the 90s. Like, we can look it up ourselves and see, like, oh.
But we didn't stop listening to him when that tape came out. Why didn't we stop then? That's verifiable. That's irrefutable evidence right there.
And again, to me, I think, to me, I'll answer for myself. I think that during that time, and especially being young, Not Guilty came out. It was enough vagueness to it, in which it was still questions like, was that really him? How old was that woman? XYZ. It was a bunch of things. And the reality is that if you watch that tape after maybe 08, 09, like, you was going to jail for like possible child porn. So nobody's really been looking at the tape. So it's not even been like a thing that you're gonna
see the tape.
Right? I never saw it, but I've heard people. A lot of people apparently have seen it.
Yeah. No. Again, it was a thing back into the day. But again, this is where when he was found not guilty. It was enough vagueness to it. It was questions. It was questionable. And this is where, for me, when I step away from things, it's typically when it is verified and conclusive, and it goes against what I morally feel, and like how I morally carry myself. Like, truthfully, with Tory Lanez would be a great example. My favorite album of the year prior was New Toronto Tory Lanez. I was running that down. The Megan shit happened, and I was like, I'm gonna sit this one out for a little bit. Like, I literally stopped listening to him, and then as things became a little more vague, I was like, huh.
So what?
I might let a little bit play.
So what if evidence comes out that it shows that he might not have done it? Then we start back.
Hopefully, I can go back and listen to shit I like. but I think for me, I do operate on a specific moral code. At least I try to. And I'm sure that there's contradictions, because normal to be human is to be contradictory. But in general, I do try to operate somewhere along those lines of a moral code if what they're doing would help support and continue support actions and shit that I don't fuck with. It's just harder for me. We didn't explicitly get your opinion, Tone. What do you think about it?
He wasn't here.
That would be why we didn't get it, Johnny.
Yeah, you kind of lost me with the Meg Thee Stallion thing. Talking about what do I think about which part of what you was
the overall conversation
about like separating the man from the music or the man from the art.
Overall, like if somebody do something I don't agree with, I'm pretty much gonna cut them off. Like, I'm done with this.
Yeah, like if it goes against your moral code explicitly.
Yeah, and even like R. Kelly, like, it's still certain R. Kelly songs I like and everything. So it's like, you know, you got like, he got his good songs. Everybody got good and bad to him and everything. But I'm not predominantly listening to it, because it's like, even when I listen to certain stuff, it's like, now it's a little too much. And now I hear something different.
And I like R. Kelly, but I ain't put I haven't personally put.
I just don't like letting the courts
play in the room around.
I just don't like letting the courts decide, because traditionally they have been untrustworthy, especially.
Well, no, if you just listen to him, he
was doing that.
R. Kelly, but so was Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. So again, back to this comment, because you got to hear it from somebody else. My Sharon said, but it was not proven on MJ versus RK had different things that were strongly proven.
But the thing with Michael Jackson, he was doing stuff that was against, like, would you do some of the stuff that he was doing back then?
I didn't have a life Michael Jackson had,
when you say do some of the stuff that he was doing, what are you even talking about?
Inviting kids over to your house, having them sleep in the bed with you, having them, that's against that's against my moral code. Whether the law says whether you get away with it, whether you get convicted, that right there would be against my moral code.
Bro, but sleeping in the bed with kids,
that's weird, bro.
Kids,
that's weird as shit.
Sleeping in the bed with some kids and touching kids is a different thing.
Yeah. Again,
I think it's weird. I think it's weird as shit.
And if we canceling mine or ain't my niece, like, but still,
I think it's weird as shit. And we canceling people, that should be,
bro. But when
we're not canceling niggas for doing weird shit.
Yeah,
we're canceling them for molesting people. We're canceling them for like statutorily raping somebody. We're canceling them for dating and having intercourse with underage people. We're canceling them for killing people. We're like these are things that we're canceling. Like, it's a bunch of weird shit that people do that nobody gives a fuck and is not getting canceled for. It's like mad. Like the world's really weird.
Not weird shit with kids. That's all I'm saying. That's true. That's over the line,
bro. It's a lot of people.
Yeah. Again, if these kids come, like if there was the kids coming out and they didn't retract their statements, I could cancel Michael Jackson. That wouldn't be an issue. Because again, it goes against my moral code.
But when multiple kids have came out and said he didn't do this, and my mama tried to trick me into saying, like Aaron Carter came out and said,
they said it was trying to be a payday, and then the people making the documentary saying that we lied. Like it's too much shit, and he did. It's not like he pushing a button right now. It's like I don't know.
And then on top of that man was about to take over Sony. He had the Beatles. If they really wanted to prove something, they would have did it, bro. That would have been the easy way for them to get what they want. Ruin his name.
I'll leave it alone.
If they had proof, if they had proof on Mike, they would have put it out.
I'll tap out. I just had to bring up another example. I'll tap out. I'll tap out. We can move on. But
hit that last comment, and then we'll
it was not proven, and they said that it never happened with MJ.
And I don't want no smoke with Mama's hair. So I don't want no smoke. So I'll tap out.
All right, we got rock paper scissors. Let's get into it. Let's get to the monkey. You ready? All right. Get him up out of there.
Real quick.
But I'm gonna let you go first, Johnny.
Shit, let's go. Let's see. I hope I needed to win
that. Oh, you was ready to put me on the spot.
I needed to win that. Let me see what I got. Let me go with scroll down. Give me I forgot her name. The light skin joint in the middle right at the top.
I went right here.
Oh yeah, I see. Now go up to the top. We can come back to Ruby Rose too.
Right here.
Yeah.
Nice skin, Ruby Rose.
No, the one below.
Allegedly. Ain't nobody gonna catch me slipping.
Okay.
Not her.
Oh, you had some TDJ work on you.
If I said we're not living in 1870, early 1900s no more, and black men aren't getting tricked and bamboozled into relationships with white women, would y'all be mad at me? Would you be mad? If I said interracial relationships have been legal since the late 1960s, and that's when some black men, like actors, revolutionaries, said that coveting a white man's woman was truly revolutionary and kind of like tasting freedom and getting back at the white man on purpose, since they was getting lynched for it decades, years prior. And since that is now an aspect of black history when it comes to interracial relationships between black men and white women, we cannot keep on continuing to bring up how white women bamboozle and trick black men in relationships because of that. Would y'all be mad if I said it? That every single time that you see a black man be abusive or violent or just crazy and act a fool towards a white woman, you saying, that's why you need to leave them white women alone, leave them alone. You're inadvertently saying that if he did the same thing to a black woman and girl, he would not get caught because black women and girls are not a protected class. So therefore, you should just change who you do this violent action towards, not the action itself. It pisses you off. Would it make you mad if I said black men want to be there? They're choosing to be there, okay? Master's wife isn't making them big cotton anymore. All right? They're choosing to try to transform the little white woman into black woman, into Coretta Scott Kings, or wearing gold rings. Just to be reminded that he's still that was his fate, his decision, his choice.
I know why Johnny shared.
A fate he signed, still delivered, in yours. It's yours.
I know why Johnny shared this video.
Why did I share this video?
He is a reformed snow bunny chaser.
Yeah, that's what I think it is, bro. Like he probably got a secret relationship right now.
No, I ain't even.
He's trying to prep us with. He tried to prep us for it.
I ain't even gonna
laugh
at that.
I ain't gonna lie. The subtitles were small on that one, and she was talking a lot. So that seemed like Jonathan Major smoke.
Yeah,
and black men choosing white women that won't appreciate them, but then fuck them over. Is that kind of what that is?
Basically, and saying that we shouldn't feel sorry for these black men.
What if like you run away from a white woman as fast as you can
on like 18 different cameras.
Bro.
Like really, like you do it really hard, and then
that shit look like a movie,
right? And actually, you know what I was thinking? I was like, how does this nigga still got stamina to keep running? But she also had wind too.
Bro. That's what surprised me, because I'm like, where's she go? Like, she gonna get tired. Well,
I thought both of them would get tired.
To me, I was thinking, how crazy does a woman have to be to chase you 18 blocks?
To keep chasing,
like to keep
crazy,
chasing.
Bro. And it looked like a movie.
It looked like some Animaniacs type shit, bro. Like they kept on cutting, and it'd be another video they cut. He was ducking in and out of car.
Right, but my thing is like, so you run, like imagine running away from as fast as you can, and then getting
a charge. Like
what some would say is a top tier queen to pull up with you, a Megan Good.
That's what she should have said something about. I mean,
because she put the cape on for him.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't think black women should empathize with black men? That's a different conversation. We'll get there.
Well, no, I definitely do.
We'll build. But
we'll
build to that.
But like she was saying, that man chose to be there.
He chose to be there.
He chose to be there, and like, I guess what I got, because I didn't really know exactly how I felt about the clip when I first saw it. That's why I put it in here.
Okay.
But what I felt like she was saying was the black men that do that, it's obviously something inside. Like maybe she didn't say the word self-hate, but that's what I took it as. Like a self-hate thing. So people who usually have self-hate, they inflict pain on other people. And I think what she was saying was making a correlation between the men that do these violent things and the type of women that they choose, and saying that maybe we should just let these men get whatever is coming towards them. That's kind of what I took from. I don't know if that's what she was trying to say, but that's what I took from it, and I thought it was very interesting. I wanted to throw it out there and see what anybody else, if they took the same thing I did.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that I think that I specifically can only speak. I specifically can only speak about the Jonathan Major shit very ignorantly because I haven't really kept up with the majority of the trial. I don't know.
Me neither. I just saw that.
Yeah.
That one clip.
But it does. I mean, I will say it does seem like a lot of nasty work. A lot of where I don't know. I personally have. I have never hunted snow bunnies. I ain't never even caught a snow bunny.
Fuck you looking at this?
I personally have.
I saw that.
I've always personally found refuge in black queens.
Bro, like, all right, like let's not like act
black
like you.
Queens forever.
Let's not.
No.
Let's not act like. Let's not like. Let's be for real. We gonna do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do
Let's
it.
do it.
But let's be for real. Let's be free. You
we getting for real, Johnny. Now
you was just last week. You was bragging.
Talk to me.
I went to school. It was all black people. You didn't have a chance to get with a white woman.
I was a teacher.
Oh, but I'm telling you, growing up, you weren't around them to even have the chance to even know. That's why, like, your formative years, they weren't around. So of course you didn't try to get them. If you're around, if you're in proximity,
there was some white folks.
Makes it.
It was the po whites though.
Yeah, we had some. We had some at our school. They wasn't measuring up to the black girls.
Nah, you ain't want them no way. So yeah, don't.
I can't think of nothing.
Oh, so what you saying is that you was conditioned to like them white women?
Absolutely.
So what? This is the real conversation.
Going to white PWI, absolutely.
We're not talking about college though. Like Duke was right.
Or even like
you said growing up formatively.
But I went to my high schools weren't all black. My middle school wasn't all black. It was 50-50 at best.
Right. So what you're saying is that your parents put you in a place to be conditioned to see the beauty and want and fawn over the old slave master's daughter.
If you go to school with white people, that is what happens. Like, that is what happens when you go to school with them.
I had some crushes on white girls when I was younger. I just thought about
close.
I just thought about that. I lived in the country. The first girl I liked in like kindergarten or something. She was like the second grader. I think her name was Kelly. I can't remember.
It was a white girl.
Yeah, she was a white girl. But I was in like kindergarten too. Like
And if you ain't go to
when my great grandmama died, there was this white girl that she lived in my.
Bro, if you would have went to South Mac instead of instead of Barry, you'd have had a couple on your belt.
You'd have had some snow bunnies.
I can't necessarily say
that's facts, bro. You wouldn't have went to South Mac.
I ain't gonna lie. I have never found it ain't been really a bunny that I've been like attracted to want to date. Ain't really interested.
I'm definitely attracted to personality. It was the person I had a white girl best friend in 7th grade. Like I had a white
So answer me this. Is there a space where Lizzo personality could be so fire that
Bro,
that's
no,
the one?
I'm not wanting Lizzo. I don't.
Oh,
want
so it's not explicitly.
It's not all. It's not all personality. It do got some looks involved.
There we go.
I'm saying I'm not gonna say like nothing's just one single
parameter
that we
right.
A pizza is cheese and sauce.
Pepperonis.
You gotta have. You can't just have sauce and call it a pizza,
bro. I think it's.
I got a quick question. This is like a really big detour to what you just said. Whatever happened to anchovies? Niggas just like they dubbed that.
Good riddance.
That's almost like 90s.
Like good riddance. This shit.
It used to be a joke. You can still get them.
Anchovies and pepperoni, and not pepperoni, but pineapple. Those
I know one person who like.
No, shut the fuck up.
Pineapple should be on.
Yeah, it should.
Get out of here, bro.
Like pepperoni pineapple is one of the most more fire Jones.
If Rail was here, you might have some help. But you by yourself on that today, bro. Hating on the pineapples. That's
yeah. Well,
I almost threw my dog on bottle over there for us.
Right,
bro. That's blasphemy.
Hey, so while we are kind of on this topic, go to mine real quick. I just threw something that.
Hey, hold on, I got some more.
I know you have more. This is on the topic, Johnny. Go to Dr. Umar right there. Let the folks see what we doing.
I guess y'all see it behind me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why you have a liberal perspective, because you go home to a white woman.
But that's not true. I felt this way before I met my white girlfriend.
Although your white girlfriend and possibly none of her family owned the slave,
They're from Portugal.
Although the Portuguese were some of the first ones in the slave trade.
The very
So
pioneers,
they built most of the dungeons in Africa. So I know she got racism in her veins because of the Portuguese role in the slave trade. Let's say her family dipped from all of that. What's not fair? They was the first ones in the shit. Fuck out of here. You get on the beginning of the white Portuguese bloodline. This girl, it was the shit in the Portuguese 1400s. They built the first fucking dungeons.
I'm going to crack them.
Now, no, you're not, because you're bunny hopping. The reason you have no business being with a Caucasian woman is although she nor her family may have participated in our oppression directly, she benefits from it.
Should we have that same disdain for the Africans that sold us into the slave trade?
That's a great question. Are you mixed race? Or are you a bunny hopper?
Shout out the doctor. Shout out to the doctor.
Hey, so
I don't know.
I love it. You're a bunny hopper,
Johnny.
Man,
you were right to Johnny.
I'm not a bunny hopper.
Have you ever caught rabbits? All right, never mind. Let's go on back to let's go to Johnny's next one.
Bro, why we like? Why,
I don't know. This is a fun place to be at. Shout out to Jonathan Majors.
Why we always? Man, it's tough being named Jonathan nowadays, bro.
Bro, that man did run past 18 cameras though. We still had to deal with that.
Still got found guilty, boy. That's scary times out here, boy.
Yeah. All right. What you got next for us, Johnny?
Oh, let's see. Scroll up.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're not seeing as fast as I.
Let me get no. I meant scroll down. Scroll down. I'm gonna be on the left side. It's Who Sound White. Scroll down one more time. Could go hit. Give me Ruby Rose.
Kentucky.
Yes, originally.
And then you moved to Switzerland?
Yes.
Okay. Was it a military thing or?
No, like all of my mom's side of the family. So during the war in Eritrea, a lot of Eritreans and even like Sudanese and Somalian people moved to Europe, like places in Europe as refugees. So like all my mom's side of the family lives in Switzerland still. So for like a year and a half, I just went back and did like boarding school with my older sister.
Okay. And I guess you speak 4 languages?
I mean, not fluently, but I can speak French pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, pretty certainly. And then I speak Spanish and Tigrinya.
What's that last one?
Tigrinya, it's like the native language of Eritrea.
Aha.
Oh, she a reach.
Okay.
And
of course, when you talk about Ethiopia, Haile Selassie, that's always been like one of the big figures. You're from Kentucky.
Yes, originally.
And then you moved to Switzerland?
Yes.
People were mad about, like, I guess the image that she portraying, having like come from, overseas. I had no clue that she was this well rounded, and I guess that makes it just we kind of hit on it earlier about like what we value as a society when it comes to our women, and it's like she has all this to offer. Nobody would ever know because she uses her body and like her image, like her physical.
What does she do specifically? I really don't know what she be doing.
She's a model and she got a
She just
rapper.
look good.
Yeah, she just bad, and that's why there's people are saying like,
so she chose the easy route. It's like being like
she leads with that when there's so much more to offer to her, and like to me, like you see it, but that was like one of the sexiest things I've seen from Ruby Rose was her talking about how many languages she spoke and how she's world traveled. I'm like, damn, that's.
I know Lil Tyler has a verse that mentions her. I want something more Ruby Rose, but yeah.
Lil Tyler,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But off that Law and Order sample, that record is actually kind of hard.
Tough.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I be in Florida State with the Seminoles.
Yeah,
that shit go with the Seminoles.
Yeah, nah, he slid, bro, slid on it. But I will. So this is what I got from this. I'd like to ask this question: do you think that the pretty girl leaning more into her, I guess, like her attractiveness, my bad, a smart girl leaning more into her attractiveness is equivalent to, say, a guy or smart men leaning more into athletics and like entertainment?
I was gonna say money.
Oh yeah, I think it'd be like a smart guy, like,
but
going
money kind of different
going into trapping, like the street life. I think that's more of a
but that you go to jail for that. To me, like the quick, easy, popular thing that men can get trapped in, and with women. All right, so with the quick, easy thing that makes money that women can get trapped in is like the Instagram model shit, the video vixen shit, or maybe the OnlyFans shit, XYZ. Like it's a dream in which the majority of them ain't gonna make $1 off of it, but at the same time, like it's easy, low-hanging fruit that they all can participate on some level in which I think that, to me, when I think of like the other side of it, like if there was a male comparison, to me, it's probably like being a rapper, entertainer, athlete, where most of them aren't gonna get it. There's low barriers to where like you can grow up and do it. You can like do it with your friends and shit like that. But you could be a local rapper.
I can see that. I can see that.
I can see.
You got a whole bunch of women who call themselves models, and you know,
yeah, they just
like you modeled in college on
Bon Vivant, some shit like that.
We had bike news.
You let that dude. You let that nigga with a DLSR take pictures of you butt naked.
In a bathroom filled in a bathtub full of milk
with Fruit Loops in it. with Fruit Loops in it.
Nah, that's a fact though. Shout out to all the women that express their body artistically. Shout out to Twitch. They making it they're rewriting the rules.
Free the nipple, bro. About time.
You know what's a crazy thing?
That's crazy. You just said that right after we watch what we watched.
You could actually see some. Never mind. Instagram is a wild place. If like somehow you get into the breastfeeding algorithm, this titties everywhere.
Yeah. I knew you was about to say that too, bro. I be like, bro.
Instagram crazy because you can look at one of the videos.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind it because I'm not opposed to. I think we should free the nipple.
I don't like the fact that you can.
No, listen. I don't mind it because of perverted reasons. I ain't gonna pretend like it's wholesome.
Nah, you just want to
like that's a nice titty.
I don't mind.
You know, at the same time, it's.
I do
like,
say it's a nice titty. I do say that.
Like, I think it's exploitation on the mother's behalf of like, why you got your whole titty and nipple out? Like,
I just don't like.
All right, bro. That ain't. Hey, Todd, did you watching this? That shit ain't happening. Yeah, we ain't freeing that nipple.
I just
we ain't doing that one. That's just wild work, nasty work. I ain't with it.
I just don't like the fact that you can just look at one of them videos, not even like it for like half a second, and next thing you know, they got 3 more loaded up, and you like, bro, what the fuck?
That ain't what happened, John. That ain't what happened. You tapped it.
How did
you
went
up and went down?
How did we get here? I was like, that's what.
I know what you're saying, though.
Listen, your algorithm know that you are a wild titty.
I'll watch something.
They know it, bro. They don't know it by accident. Listen. I'm not gonna lie. My For You page know me.
It's crazy.
I don't know how it know me.
It do.
I ain't gonna pretend like some of the stuff that pop on my For You page probably ain't some shit that I tap.
And niggas be wild because this shit happened. This was yesterday at the job. We had this.
We got to start seeing niggas For You pages.
Yeah, I'm curious.
That's a funny. That's a good one.
That's actually.
I ain't mad at it.
I
was about to pull up mine now, like in the background over here. Let me see what my For You page. Because I gotta see. I think I know what most of mine is though.
I know exactly what mine is.
But niggas got to, because there was some dude at my job, a woman started breast. It was like a female couple at the job, and they had some babies, and one of them started breastfeeding. And so my boy,
rewind this. Say this one more time slow.
It was a woman couple at the job, and they had kids. They had babies. They was breastfeeding age. And so one of them like started breastfeeding. My boy came over because we was sitting there. He was like, "Hey y'all, don't go over that way." One of them breastfeeding. And my boy, I ain't even gonna say his name because he a wild boy. We told him, but boy, you wild. He was like, "Which one is it?" And I was like, "Bro, do it even matter, bro? Just don't go over there." He was like, "Yeah, it do, because one of them don't look that good."
Oh no, bro.
And we was like, "Bro, they're right there. Chill out. Like you, like dudes got to do better when we.
I agree.
We just gotta.
It's one thing if you just happen upon a titty. Like if you just was walking around the corner, just happen to
find a titty.
You know, you just happen upon a titty.
But dudes just gotta just be better, and like we can't just be acting all weird when we see the shit. Like, bro,
especially.
I'm not gonna lie. All right, so for me, breastfeeding is extremely normalized, only because like my mother breastfed all of my siblings. Yeah, like she breastfed all of them. I mean, there was discretion that happened with like, so she'll have like a little thing that she'll put over them more times than not. But in general, like that's almost like par for the course for me. Like, and I will also say, I was speaking with Taj yesterday, day before that, but like I am extremely grateful, not even just on the sense of like the financial like load that it takes off where you ain't got to buy no formula. All the food is literally in house. It's here. You can freeze it now. You can kind of bottle up some, but at the same time, like it is the most natural way. It is as beneficial as possible, and I know it hadn't been easy. Like any woman that's breastfeeding for the first time is going to be a part where it's a struggle. Like they're gonna have calluses on their nipples. That shit gonna be, you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be tough. But I do appreciate the fact that she stuck it out because of there's nothing better than getting it straight from the source, the way nature intended.
Yeah, I agree. I seen the other side of it.
Explain. I don't know what you mean by that.
Meaning that I ain't gonna get into it, but basically I didn't get what I wanted out of that situation. In my own situation.
Yeah. Co-parenting.
I wanted that.
You should have been here last week. Co-parenting etiquette. That was a good one.
Yeah.
That was a really fire conversation.
Come on, Johnny, give us one more. Listen, I know I have some heat lined up.
Only got one more.
Let me get. You can get it two more. I don't care.
Give me Black Dude Under Ruby.
Hey, good morning. To all my Jewish and Palestinian cousins, y'all be careful out there this holiday season. Due to the actions of several governmental agencies, you have been made targets around the world. And because of America's failure to do anything to stop domestic terrorism, hate crimes against you have been on the rise. So please be careful this holiday season. Watch your back. Be mindful of who you allow in your spaces, and be careful and be mindful of your friends. Be careful this season. And remember, free Palestine, free Congo, free Syria, free Tibet, and free Taiwan.
And Sudan.
Is that the end? Oh my God.
Yeah, no, I ain't gotta go there. I think the thing he said at the beginning was the most poignant thing, and it's something I think that gets lost in when we talk about like geopolitics and the wars and everything that's going on in the world. It's that most of the people from these places, whether they're Israeli, Jewish, Arab, Palestinian, Muslim, 99% of the people are decent people. It's the top 1% from each one of these groups
Mm-hmm.
that are, you know, making these things happen, that are calling these shots, that are putting Jewish people in America in a place where they feel like people are looking at them crazy based on what's happening across the world. Palestinian Americans are in this country feeling like people are looking at them crazy based on what's going on in the world. Nobody here has anything to do with that. Nobody here planned that attack. Nobody there had anything to do with the Israeli response or over response to it. So, and I was gonna have this as my topic earlier, but it just calls the question. And it might even go into like some of your memes too later. But there are certain things that the ones that control this world aren't represented by the people, the Palestinians, the Jewish people, the Christians. The average people aren't 9 times out of 10 aren't bad people. It's
Are you talking about in the conflicts,
or just in
unless
the,
you're talking about.
I'm just talking about in the world. We're talking about like an
I'm about
average
to say,
Christian person.
you might can make a case for the Israeli. They all got to serve in the IDF.
Yeah, I mean that's a caveat. I mean,
all right,
if somebody's making you do it, you're not choosing.
But what are you doing during that time?
You're probably being brainwashed, and you know you're probably listening to propaganda that make you hate the other side.
So if you commit atrocities and war crimes because of you was listening to propaganda, does that make it?
But I don't think everybody that's in the IDF is doing the war crime.
Oh no, of course not.
I don't think just because you were in the IDF means you believe in like Zionism or you believe.
I guess I haven't heard or seen anybody that had served or wasn't closely related to the IDF that hadn't spoken inside a way in which sounded heavily indoctrinated.
But do you think, just knowing we know about media and who runs things, do you think that would even be allowed? Or do you think that they would let somebody serve there and then come out and speak down on them and expose all their secrets? And they ain't never go like, why would they allow that to happen? Why would they let somebody why would they let one of their own come out and expose all the stuff? I think they have it. There's too much control for something like that to happen. Too much of canceling and too much things that so much could happen before I think one of theirs would come out and start talking junk and get to a place where people actually hear them. They nip that in the bud. But yeah, I just wanted to bring it, like you say, man, we got to start looking at like the people for the people and not let these elites, not let these governments, not let these religions cloud our judgment when we're looking at each other face to face, when we're talking to people in different communities, when we're trying to unite. Because we're all really oppressed people when it comes down to these governments. We're all cogs in the system. We're all disposable. We're all just in the system to enrich their lives and get exploited. So whether you're Palestinian, Israeli, Chinese, American.
How you feel about like Israeli settlers inside like their role that they played in?
I don't agree with Israeli settlements.
Yeah. So the settlers, the people that are buying the property, the people that are doing the thing.
I actually watched the documentary on it, like right at the beginning of the war. And a lot of the settlers aren't settling for religious, Zionist, racial reasons. They're settling for economic reasons 9 times out of 10.
Oh, but that makes it better or worse?
I don't think it makes it any, but I think it's a different intent. If somebody's like settling with the intent to displace the people, I'm gonna move these people out.
Then we can never like blame anything to like the system of white supremacy if what you're saying is cool and allowed.
Well, there are certain actors and there are heads of these things. There are leaders of this system that
I know for sure. But so if it allows me to do this and I exploit this, even though I know that this is a international crime. And my thing is that, well, I'm gonna save a couple dollars, so I might as well do it. If that's the answer, I don't understand.
No, I mean, I see what you're saying, but like, I definitely see what you're saying as far as like, you're benefiting from this system. Like, if
you're exploiting the system. They're not benefit; they're exploiting. It's not just benefiting. That is the exploitation of the system. Like, I'm going to do way better. Well, I mean, we can interchangeably use benefit and exploit inside this manner
Yeah,
because you're doing both of them.
It's the
like
same.
To benefit is to exploit it inside this circumstance.
But a lot of time I think that happens out of ignorance. I don't think they really truly understand the impact of what they're doing.
I don't think that
Just
there's
like
an Israeli that is living over there that does not understand all of the dynamics. I think that's more of the craziest thing to say.
So you think
there's no deaf, dumb, and
understand
blind
clearly.
Israeli or Palestinian. Like, to me, to say you live in Gaza and like you are unaware of what's happening around you would be crazy to me.
I see how you can say
We
that.
more unaware, if anything.
I see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they're living the literal.
I see how you can say that. I mean, I see how you can say that. Well,
like, because both sides are like impacted extremely daily by like the conditions and what
I
it
see
is.
how you can say that, but I'm still gonna stand on where I was and say
stand on business.
I don't hate people because of their religion. I don't hate the people of any religion.
I think that's different.
The people of any country, the people of any race, just because they're that thing. I can have a grievance against the country, against the religion, but not have a grievance against the people of said thing. And that's all I'm saying.
Right.
In
which I agree. I think that you can be anti-Zionist, you can be anti-Israeli, and not anti-Jewish.
I think a lot of the times people don't actually know who the enemy is.
Right.
That's really what I feel like. And it's because like we have things so compartmentalized inside of these groups, and life is not just like compartmentalization, if that makes sense. Like, so we like to look at stuff like for people to be like, oh, I don't like Muslims or something like that. That's kind of stupid. Like, you like to put everybody into one group because everybody isn't going to just be one type of way. And that's kind of how I see things. Like, most of the world is not influencing the world. Do you get what I'm saying? We're really just we're like the only influence we have is that we're participating in it. Like, most of the world's influence is obviously at this point, to me, it looks like somebody's orchestrating something. Like I feel like the whole world is orchestrated by somebody.
Hey, let's not get there yet.
I know where you wanted to go.
We got somewhere we can get there as well. I don't know. All right, so I don't know, Johnny. Did you have another one, or is it time for me to hop into them?
I'll bow out.
Okay.
No, let me get one more. It ain't even a video or nothing. If you could scroll down, it's gonna be on the right column. Scroll down. Right there. Right above Chili's. Right above Chili's. No, go up.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're seeing it behind.
I am, and I keep on talking like you're doing it.
All right, there we go.
Hey, good morning.
Is there another?
It's just a picture.
Police in South Carolina are investigating a suspected hate crime of a flaming cross recently found in front of a black family's home.
I want to bring this up because I got a personal connection with the city. It happened in Conway or Myrtle Beach.
And if Jack Harlow did that, you still gonna listen to that record?
I don't like that record. No bullshit.
No, you do.
It's a fire record.
I'm vanilla, baby.
I get love in Detroit like I'm Skilla, baby.
But so you will listen to that record if Jack Harlow did it just because you enjoy it, even though he burnt that cross in front of them people's house.
I mean, would that make the song whack?
I'm asking you this question.
Would that make
I personally wouldn't. So I would like to know what you would do.
I mean, I probably wouldn't support Jack Harlow anymore, but
you would listen to it.
I wouldn't not like if the song came. I probably wouldn't start be like, let me listen to the new Jack Harlow. But if it came on,
but you would push play on that again if you heard it.
Well, it's not a classic record, so I mean, I can't it ain't.
You are really slimy right now. You won't answer the question. That's crazy. All right, go ahead and get into the bag that you wanted to get into.
Oh no, I just going. I wanted to. Like, you trying to derail this shit? Fuck all that. I ain't even worried about that. But I had a story about this thing because that's just from the same city my pops is from, and the KKK has always been pretty prevalent down there.
Yeah.
They used to do marches. They used to yell people's name out on loudspeakers, talking about we're gonna come and like lynching, like warning people at lynches. And the motherfuckers pulled up to one of my granddad's friend's house back in the day, and or they threatened him in the parade, and like 100-200 people, black people from Conway, they all grabbed their guns, shotguns and stuff, and went over to old buddy's house and spent the night. And and just staked out, making sure them that they wasn't coming, and they ain't never show up. And they ain't never show up. So I just, that's just a connection to me. I ain't really got nothing profound to say about that, but it's still well and alive, clearly. And I don't know if these were just some, little kids trying to troll, or if it was actually like a sanctioned KKK thing. But that area of South Carolina has been like well documented for KKK activity, and some of my family can vouch for it. But yeah, I'm done.
Okay,
that's all I wanted. I just wanted to, get my little piece off. And
got you. I said let's read that last chat, and then we can get to my.
Oh, this was from the breastfeeding conversation.
Okay.
If people only understood the benefits of breastfeeding, first immunization, brain food, and other benefits, that is good for the mother as well as the child.
Yes, and I know that if a woman is breastfeeding, also, this is like one of the best positives that you could probably sell to a mom is it helps your stomach shrink.
A word?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. That's
like,
one of them that.
Like it helps.
That
your
would probably
shrink.
sell it a lot.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So now that makes sense though.
That should be common knowledge.
So do you think that has something to do with why historically like women was maybe like weighed less back in the day compared to now? I mean, I know we got a lot of steroids in the foods now and stuff too. There's a lot of different chemicals in the foods, but you think they got something to do with it though? Like,
I don't know. I guess I hadn't specifically put enough thought into it, but I could see it. I definitely could see it. I don't know. I think that as well. One of the main things is that like I'm trying to figure out this. I'm not gonna go on a crazy ledge, but so women today are having kids outside of like probably like when they're supposed to have kids. Where like naturally they were where women, I guess, maybe are supposed to have kids at an age in which probably is appropriate for them to have kids, if that makes sense. Like if they're to have like
you're talking about scientifically versus society.
Yes, society, in which if any guy is having kids with a woman at the age they're supposed to, you should be thrown in jail, in my opinion, because I think that as a developed species, humans, that we understand like that's probably not it. You know what I'm saying? But I think that having a kid at 30, 40, we're starting to push up towards the hormones that are pushing through XYZ. I think that a lot of that probably deals with why the pregnancy impacts them at the rate that it does. Because of like most like the girls that had kids in college, most of their stomachs snapped back and it was all right.
Yeah.
The ones that had kids at like, after a certain age, in the words of Corey Holcomb. Never mind, I ain't gonna do that. I can't. That's crazy.
Go ahead.
No. Yeah, go ahead and put yourself.
Well, no, I actually can't because hers didn't do that. She ain't got it's stomach looking like crumpled up homework paper.
I knew it. Corey Holcomb a fool.
He a fool.
He a fool.
Shout out to Ty. She breastfeeding, so that stomach regular. Look at my baby.
Come from C-sections too.
Yeah.
C-sections end up being a different thing. But you ain't gonna go in on that. Let's get to some other memes.
All right. So we here. Rail is missing us. So I'm gonna do this in tribute to my boy Rail. Could you go to that guy inside that vest and a tie?
What? Oh, right here.
The one that looked like JD?
Nah, he in the locker room.
Oh, that guy.
Craziest thing about this pick on that day, we was getting it off in that era. Go back. We was at the cigar lounge this weekend, and me and Keith shared a good laugh about Rail and Rich. That's one of those. Rail does not wear hard bottoms with jeans. I think that he wants. If I could explicitly say that, hey Rail, hopefully you one of these two. He does not wear hard bottoms with jeans. But if he would wear hard bottoms with jeans, I think he'd get this fit off right here. Rail, you lucky you wasn't here today. I'm gonna look at this chair because this was lined up for you.
Right.
This is lined up for you.
You man. He was not.
Bro, that was a whole era.
But no, I will also say I think that this is a funny like conversation piece. I think 08 through like maybe you could have pushed towards like 2010, 11. The cardigan era was a fun time. The polo era was a fun time.
Button down.
Yeah, the button down era was it was like this era did exist. And I know I can only speak specifically for like as a college student. I was getting that fit off. That
I'm saying with the cardigan, the striped cardigan.
Yeah, that was one. It was elite. that one right. That was elite. And you could wear it open or closed. You could wear it with the white tee like he getting off,
or you could wear it like a jacket,
or you could throw the button up under it. It depended on the function that you was going to. And
multi-purpose.
It was a time to be alive. Like the Pico era, that was a time.
Yeah, it was a whole time. The cardigan era was
Pico era was crazy.
Yeah.
Pico era was like a little bit. It was like a year after, 2 years after this.
Nah, I was
like the end.
I was Pico between 08 to 2010, and then I got cardigans from like 2010, 2011. And then I started dressing like a hipster.
As soon as I did Alpha, I was on the cardigan.
Yeah. You ain't had no choice. They
was just fresh. I wanted one of them like forever since I was watching. You know, that's what they always used to wear on the TV shows when you see the frats and stuff.
Yeah. This one right here will be for Johnny. I think that I'm gonna send this one for Johnny. I just got questions. Right. Scroll. You see where it says, "Would you be upset?" Go to the one right underneath that. We ain't got to stay here for that long.
So in the States, it's
you went to Turkey, right?
Yeah, I chose to go to Turkey because it's much better there. In the States, it's like 150,000 for both, like to do both. In Turkey, for both together, it was like $81,000.
$81,000. You don't think you could have bought something else to make people be like, yo, I'm fucking with him, to make you feel confident?
It wasn't about them. It was about me. It was about the way I saw myself. I don't care how other people see.
Did you see yourself short?
I did. I saw myself as a small man. Even though I would put on a lot of weight while I was in the military, I still saw myself as a small man. I hated it.
Do you know the average height in the United States?
5'9".
It's 5'7", I think.
It's 5'9".
It's 5'9". I'm sure you know. I'm not gonna question you. I'm sure you researched it.
5'9". So, and you went. What's your height now?
6 foot.
You pretty decent, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Like you was
his height before.
Pretty tall, bro. Like when I seen you in the outside of this, and I was like, yo, you pretty good height.
The funny thing is I almost went for a third surgery until I saw how tall I was after the second one. After the first surgery, I was like 5'9.5".
Okay, explain to us how this limb lengthening thing works. So is it like a little rod that just could keep stretching if you wanted it to, or what?
Not technically, but not exactly, because your body has limitations. So basically what happens is they break the bone, they put a rod in the bone, and then they put a device outside the leg that connects to the rod in your leg.
How much did this procedure cost?
Yeah, I was actually watching that dude. Like as he was getting, like he's walking now, but I seen him when like he had got it done.
Oh no, they got to learn how to walk again.
Yeah, he had to learn how to walk again and everything.
Hey, his leg's gonna be shit when he get to be 70, bro. I'm out.
But he's 6 feet.
So
that nigga said he out. So my question to you, Johnny, have you always seen yourself as a small man?
I don't see myself as a small man.
What you see yourself as? How do you self-identify?
I don't identify shit on me. I walk in.
Oh, you were ambiguous.
No, I ain't gotta be ambiguous. A lot of time I walk in rooms, I might be the shortest, but I feel like the biggest. Like I ain't gotta height shit. I ain't worried about that. I spent 81,000. Fuck that. And then be broke legs. Nah, I ain't. No, I'm good, bro.
He done went famous on that.
So if height ain't that shit ain't never held.
So Johnny, let me ask you this:
only thing height that kept me from doing is dunking. So that's the only thing I've ever wanted to do and couldn't do because I wasn't tall enough.
South Park made an episode about this.
There's previous first listen that I like to refer back to, but I'm gonna say that for right now, Johnny. If you came up on a bag and 81,000 wasn't nothing to you, like say you came up on like a 10 million bag, like an easy, quick 10 million bag.
I definitely don't need to do it. Then I got $10 million. I'll stand on my money, bro. Fuck that. With $10 million,
so ain't nothing. So if they make it easier, would you do? Is there a space where you would get the male BBL?
I'm good, bro. I don't wake up with
Have you ever wanted to be 6 foot?
Nah. Maybe I mean when I was 10 or when I was a kid, but no, I ain't never.
Okay.
I'm cool, bro. I don't even feel like I'm that short. Like, honestly, no.
To be honest, though, my honest opinion would be that I probably didn't see value in being tall until I was a little bit older, and I guess it became a thing. Well, no, it didn't become a thing. I guess it was a thing, but because like it's such a weird little thing where
like you just didn't realize it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm about to say. Like, though it was a thing, but because like when you are a thing, a lot of times you don't recognize like maybe the word would be like the weight of it. I don't know.
This shit don't mean that much, bro.
It don't really mean that much, right?
I got this. I call niggas over 6'6" who don't play in the league TFN.
Over 6'6"
Yeah,
TFN?
tall for nothing. You just can't fit. You just
But
can't.
what if he's like doing like likely 6'6", as long as he's not egregious? He don't look like Simone Biles. He gonna be doing all right. Lady wise, he gonna be doing all right.
He might be clumsy.
Yeah,
and that's usually the thing.
But his pick of the litter gonna be all right.
I mean, yeah, good for him. Like, I mean,
Oh, you don't care about that? Okay. I ain't know what you cared about. I ain't know if you cared about that or you ain't care about that. Could we go to the right next to Stevie J up top?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Do you fuck a lot of girls?
No. I make love to a lot of people of estrogen descent. Yes.
Okay.
But I would never phrase it like that. Anytime I can, see a vagina, it is a good day though.
Is there any type of vagina that's your favorite?
Black.
That smile just really, they just gave me the heaps. Do you fuck a lot of girls?
No. I make love to a lot of people of
funny as
hell. I just thought that was funny. Is that what we should? Is that like the proper way to use that term of estrogen descent?
Hey, that might be the new thing. Like we gotta like
that sounds
to
pretty
keep
safe.
you from getting in trouble.
That sounds pretty safe.
Yeah, that keep you from getting in trouble. Like you just clarified.
That sounds pretty safe.
Okay, all right. So I want to breeze through. Well, we kind of breezed through those two. Could you go down to the middle class divided? It's a white man in the middle. I'm going to get into a couple more.
The middle class today is fragmented into 5 categories based on when you bought your home and if you pay for daycare. Check this out. Group 1 is somebody who bought a home before 2020 and has an interest rate under 4%. Their mortgage out the door is around $1,500. And then daycare, let's say they have no kids or their kids are in junior high, so they have no daycare. Their housing and daycare bill is $1,500 a month. Group 2 is someone who also bought a house before 2020, has a $1,500 mortgage payment, but has daycare cost of $2,500. So they're now spending $4,000 just on housing and daycare. Group 3 is a lot of the millennials. These are people who bought a home at 6, 7, 8%. Their mortgage is $4,000 a month, but they don't have kids yet, or they're kind of waiting to see if they can even afford children. Then group 4 is like, I'm not buying, I'm going to rent for $2,500, but I also have daycare for $2,500. So that's $5,000 a month for rent and daycare. And you wonder why that group's saying, how do I save for a down payment? Like, this is insane. Then you got group 5. This is who bought a house at 7, 8% interest. Their payment's $4,000 a month plus daycare for $2,500 a month. So just on housing and daycare is $6,500 a month. So this family would have to make $100,000 basically just for housing and daycare. So you can see why those people are saying $150,000 is the new middle class. But then group 1 is saying, I'm crushing it off 80 grand a year. What are you talking about? You must be overspending. But this is probably the first time in history where when you bought a house and if you have children or not is making a huge difference in where you sit in the middle class. The middle class today is fragmented into 5.
It is so spot on. I love to get y'all reactions, then I'll kind of get into mine.
Yeah, I've seen this a couple of times, and I don't own a house, so but it's almost sickening because it's like, dang, am I gonna be able to own a house ever? Because at that rate, it's almost like you're better off not.
Well, you are at
like where things are going. If things keep going up, you're gonna end up about, I don't know. Like,
but I think we're close to.
I'm about to say the crash about to come.
We're close to. I think what people should just wait on is just have a little bit more patience and
just be prepared.
Markets correct themselves. So if something seems like it's way over cost or it's too high, it's too expensive, what naturally is going to happen in like economics, like just econ 101, is people are going to stop buying. That's what's already happened. People aren't buying houses anymore. A lot of these banks, a lot of these big corporations that bought up all these houses, they're just sitting on them because there's no buyers, there's no renters for them. So it's just basically like useless, investments. So what they're going to do is to get return on them to, realize their gains, to realize existential versus interest, existential value is they're gonna have to sell them. They're probably gonna have to sell them for losses, and that's when people are gonna come in and start buying. The rates have already. I don't want to jinx it, but I think they're about as high as they're gonna get. I think from here.
Well, the rates have started going down a little bit.
Right. Yeah, and I hope it keeps going that way. Really do. But so I think we're coming to the spot where if you wait another year, another 2 years, the market is going to correct itself, and I think a lot of it's going to go back to like how it was pre-COVID. It's going to be a really good time to buy.
I don't know about that, and that's the reason I don't know about that is because things don't operate under just like if the housing just operated independently of itself, and there wasn't anything else that affected it, like another pandemic or something like that will affect housing still to this day. So when you have other stuff going on, like the World Health Forum or the World Health Organization,
don't go there yet.
Yeah, I've been trying to hold back, but I'm just saying it's like just leaving it is it's a lot of stuff that goes together. It's other stuff that correlates, and that's what I'll be looking at. Like where is everything? What is the puzzle looking like?
Gotcha. I do think that right now we are living in a pre and post PP world where this is pandemic. Whether you was post pandemic, pre pandemic, explicitly with housing, where I probably bought at the most opportune time, and this was all the struck of luck. So I can't pretend as though like I did this. I had a great scheme. I was making good enough money at the right time in which I could save egregiously, and I had it. But I was able to buy before the pricing went up, but it was right during the pandemic when the interest rates went down and they plummeted. So like I'm explicitly that first column that he's at, right? But if I fast forward to today, there's no way I would be trying to buy a house right now. Like this house right now is going for twice what I paid for. I just got lucky that I bought at the right time, right? I am also lucky that my mom is pretty much like, I guess what you would almost like call retired. And she has the ability to help us out if needed. Taj's mom, she owns her own business and she can help us out as needed. In which like the cost of daycare, if it was a thing, we could afford it, but it's not a fee that I would want to or care for having. And it would definitely drain a lot of our finances and how we're living, right? But I can explicitly see how both of those things literally controls the quality of life the quality of life within which you can afford. I'll put it like that. And I think that we're definitely inside a really, really interesting time where I think we're all hoping that interest rates and everything can kind of go and plummet, some for different reasons. But I think that the post and what he said hits it nail on. Where I don't know of another time where in a 4 years period, maybe you can go with 2008, but not as long as you like rode that wave out long enough, it was good anyway. But where over the span of 4 years, it has been like so right.
3 years.
It's been extremely drastic, and where the quality of life for the people making the exact same income, 80K. Listen, I'm an 80K boy. I ain't gonna pretend like I'm higher or lesser. That's pretty much what I'm gonna bring in this next year as well, right? But what I could afford at 80K and what 80K today can afford are explicitly different. And that's, you know what I mean, like the time we live in.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like I said, I do think that housing prices will crash because of how aggressively.
When you say crash, what do you mean by that?
Just the prices, because I think inventory.
No, how far down do you think that's going to be allowed? Because in general, like there isn't like an explicit lack of buyers. That's the problem. Like that's the actual problem why it hasn't corrected yet. Is the fact that people are still finding a way to
buy houses, and that's the problem. And
who's buying the houses is what the question is.
people are buying.
No, I know people are buying. It's who's buying the house, but I'm still holding back from my conspiracy
but
conversations.
I think a lot of the buyers now aren't like. Well, I don't know. I have to do research. I would have to before I speak ignorantly. But I do see a lot of people. A lot of the people I have seen recently buying houses, they're second properties. They're vacation homes. They're not necessarily people looking to buy their first home and doing it right now. They're people who've already bought homes and done really well on them, and now they're looking to get that rental property, looking to get that vacate. That's what I have seen recently, and I think that secondary buyers could keep the market up. But I think if a lot of first-time home buyers choose to wait it out and choose to opt to going to rent for a little bit longer, housing prices will come down. I think a lot of these, what do they call them, trust funds and stuff. I think a lot of them are going to be, they're going to be liquid heavy. They're going to have a lot of inventory that they're just sitting on.
Hey Johnny, listen, I am hoping so because I am up the ladder of what you expect. I mean, what you stated, in which I just hope it drops so I can be a.
I do too.
I can be an exploitative capitalist.
I see that coming, and like it's just based on how stuff works, and the banks are stupid. A lot of these big banks and stuff, they bought Bitcoin at 65. They taking L's, so it ain't like they ain't never
This
lost.
is another case of Johnny happy that Bitcoin and Ethereum is rising.
No, I'm not.
He ready to drag his nuts. So I'm waiting. Listen, if it goes another 1,000 in the next few, I know Johnny. Like he was quiet for about 5 months. He was quiet for about 5 months. Listen, I get the updates too. I'm invested. I'm invested in both. Johnny be talking a little different when his shit is hitting, and it's crazy. Hey Tone, can we go down? I want to go right beside Brent Fayez. And I think this is going to tip us into a fun
Hey, shout out to Tone. I mean, shout out to Red.
What's that one thing?
Yeah, that guy right there.
What's that one thing that sparked in your brain that made you question everything?
Why have over 100 members of Congress been able to outperform the stock market by 30% over the last 2 years? Why does the IRS legally require you to report every transaction over $600 when the Pentagon can't account for $220 billion in missing military gear? How does the US plan to pay $194 trillion in unfunded liabilities like Social Security and Medicare when the entire US GDP is only $23 trillion?
The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that.
Why are you and I paying taxes when the government can just print money? And if the government can just print money, what even is money?
FBI, open up! What's that one?
So I'd like to ask y'all. To me, like a bit of this, when he says, "What is that question that made you question everything?" I like to branch it into like a better conversation, in which I love to hear what is. This is Conspiracies with Tone and Q. This is featuring Johnny today. But what is a conspiracy that you 100% believe?
Okay, so first of
Can
all,
I go first, Tone?
Yeah, you can.
Can I go first?
Really
I know you gonna be at it.
Not really.
You gonna be at it, but I do want to say the first thing he said. That's the best investment advice you can get is follow fucking Congress. Follow like fuck what Grant Cardone and Wall Street Trapper is telling you to do. Look at Nancy Pelosi. Look at and her husband. That's the best financial and stock advice I can give you is try to copy what Congress is doing. When it comes to what I think is a conspiracy theory that I 100% believe in, I would say it's the Illuminati, but not in the sense of how we call it the Illuminati.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and I'll even use the question I was going to say. When we look at capitalism and communism, us over here in America, we're a capitalist country, and we like pride ourselves on like how much better capitalism is than communism. And we're a free country, and they don't have free press over there. But if you look at our country, how can we say we have free press over here when all our press is owned by 3 major corporations and run? So how can we say our press is any better than the press over there? It's the elites run all these countries, whether we call it communism and our elites are oligarchs, so we call it capitalism and our elites are the billionaires. It's the same thing. They make all the governments answer to these people. These people don't answer to the government. And I think that's what people call the Illuminati, is the people that the government answer to. And I think every government has certain people that they answer to, whether it's communism, capitalism, dictatorships, authoritarianism. They're all the governments have certain people that enable that empower them, and they have to answer to. And so whether you call it the Illuminati, the Masons, the Knights, it's all these different secret society names that they have. But I think the fact that most of us live in a country or are governed by people that answer to higher people is a conspiracy theory that I absolutely believe in. I don't know if they, all sit in one room and explicitly make these decisions.
We're gonna get to another conversation,
but I do think that most of 99% of our lives are controlled by the elites, whether it's in our country or other countries.
All right, Tony, you want me to go or you want to go?
I go.
Okay.
Okay, so for one, let me just say I don't like the term conspiracy theory, because conspiracy theory was a term that was coined by the CIA in order to dispel truths that people was actually speaking.
Yep.
No,
so
for
it's
sure.
like I really don't like the term. It's like you either have stuff that's true that we can obviously see that gets put in as soon as you say conspiracy theory, it's like it's not true. But I was going to use the same thing Johnny was saying, because I definitely think there's an organization that is controlling like everything, and they put this stuff in the media. Like we see it all the time in the media and everything, but it's like the way everything is orchestrated, it's like it's kind of obvious at this point.
But here's one thing I do think. I don't think they have a name. I don't think they call themselves
I don't necessarily
any
think
organization,
because
they're smarter than that. If they created a group, that's evidence right there.
They have a name and they have practices, and we see remnants of people that represent them, or that like that are on. I would say
people that's doing they nasty.
I would say most of the people who we see are not the top of the branch. Like most of the people we see, you have people who are working the branch, but or branches on the tree, but they're not the
United States president. He's just a dude that he just does dirty work.
He's orchestrating a lot, but but all of this stuff works together around the world. And what ends up happening a lot of the time is we get compartmentalized within where we're at about what's going on, so we don't really see the whole big picture. Like most of the news we hear here is just about whatever is going on in the United States. But if you travel around the world, and a lot of people who travel will tell you this, like it's totally different other places. They hear a whole lot of different news. Like we don't know what's true at this point most of the time. Like
y'all got to check out this thing called ground news, and it separates the news by the sources in which way they.
I do think I
know exactly what you're talking about.
We have,
and it will also tell you like if it's liberal leaning,
right wing, left, or like.
I would definitely say
I got it. It actually helps.
There's some good social media journalists right now. I would definitely say that. I think like I don't know, man.
Johnny
it's
Knox,
interesting to see where the world is going.
One of my favorites.
I definitely think we're in a transition period, like a world transition period. There's gonna be some things that we're going to. So, like I would say like New World Order type stuff. That deal that's coming. That's happening, man. They planning that stuff. So yeah, conspiracy theory. Yeah, that's definitely coming. It's happening. Like I believe that because I know the Bible too. It speaks to this stuff in the Bible. But like just seeing it happen, and I definitely believe that. I believe people was orchestrating the music stuff, like as far as the media, like the media is used to pretty much control us in a way. Like if you like your brain doesn't separate real experience from image experience. So I'm trying to see. Yeah, your brain don't separate real images from like what you're seeing on the TV. Like it takes like your brain can't actually see. So all it's doing is looking at what you see with your eyes and taking that and translating it. So it doesn't separate real life from the TV. So a lot of the time, you ever watch the show and you've been so into the show that you start feeling the emotions of the person, or like
secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, definitely. That's crazy. And this is what happens when you do a lot. People be getting up, man. We trying to hide it and talk.
But keep going. We're listening, baby.
Now, I had to cut your camera back on, man. I was trying to say something, then the camera went off right when Johnny got up.
If it would do it live.
I'm working too. Where was I just at?
What? Yeah, you got it. What?
Yeah, but dang, I lost where I was at when I'm sitting there thinking about the camera. But basically, what it comes down to, I definitely think things are orchestrated by an organization that we don't necessarily see.
Okay, so just kind of like that general concept of there is an institution, and I wait till Johnny get back to get into like, I think that there's an interesting, I don't know if you've seen that Netflix movie that Obama and them made.
Probably I'm probably not gonna watch it.
It just happened. It just came out.
I know a movie
over the like past two or 3 weeks. I thought it was interesting, and it almost is like a prep to like, hey, you should read in between some of these lines. But if I was to get into like a conspiracy theory that I believe wholeheartedly, mine doesn't get into like explicitly like a governmental cabal or anything like that. I believe in the Mandela effect for sure. That definitely be one of the ones, if not the one specifically that I'd say.
Yeah, Berenstain definitely was.
The Berenstain Bears, yeah.
Yeah, that was one of them that got me. I'm like, I know this was spelled. I used to read, bro. I'm like, I know this was spelled.
Like, that ain't right.
That ain't right.
That ain't right. But it's so many different ones. Even
the
if
Monopoly man having the monocle, like he had a monocle. Now he didn't, and I'm like, how did he not have that?
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of metaphysics, quantum physics that you get into with like the merging of different timelines and different things like that. In which I guess is probably like something that is fathered into believing these theories, but there is specifically, like I said, the Mandela effect and a lot of the different things. Like I remember seeing the Sinbad movie when he was a genie.
Yeah.
But remember that.
You want to know the funny part about that? What got me was, okay, I remember watching both that and that Shaq movie where he was a genie.
Yeah, Kazam.
And it was like, why did they make a movie or two movies with the same premise?
I remember, and I was like, and the name sounds similar.
And the name sounds similar.
Why
did they do that? And then they have a superhero named Shazam at that. So why did they do that?
Yeah, I did. Well, I'm not even a comic book nerd, but I just watched Black Adam. I ain't know Shazam and Black Adam was like related inside the same relations.
Oh yeah. Black Adam is really his enemy. The Rock did his own thing.
You probably telling me more things than I know.
Oh yeah, Black Adam was supposed to be his enemy, but The Rock wanted to make him his superhero, and he did his own thing. And yeah, that's what happened with that. And he didn't want Shazam to really have a part of that movie or something like that. He just basically wanted Black Adam to be a hero.
Gotcha.
And he wasn't actually.
Hey, shout out to Johnny for like just laying on the mic. Not even like making it. He
didn't even sneak out real slick or nothing. It was
He said, and then he came in and just sat on the mic. Way to be like a smooth, cool.
Yeah, it's easy to play off when we got 3 people, but when you got 2, it's like
and he a wild bull. Like he said, I'm gonna push the mic forward and backwards, and both times hit the mic. It's just different. You're a different type of nigga.
That's my bad. I was trying to stay up the shot, but the angle's a little different today. I ain't skinny as I thought.
Yeah, but so I guess my thing was mine's the Mandela effect. I don't know if you believe in Mandela effect or not. But for me, I specifically that's a theory that I do believe in. But I did want to hop in real quick to have you seen the Obama movie? It's on Netflix.
There's an Obama got a movie.
Well, yeah, him and his wife they produced a movie, but it's the end of the world movie, in which I thought that they said something that was really interesting, and there's a bunch of interesting things, in which like it hints at the idea of a doomsday happening. It even gives like some different versions and ways in which it can cause chaos, and whether that's digitally through radiation, through like it was a bunch of like these different little red flags in which you would be like, that's really interesting. And where there was a ending point. I thought the ending of the movie was stupid, but there was an ending point to the movie that like they said something that was interesting, in which he was speaking about how, damn, let me see how I can frame it. Like it's two ways to frame it. One of them, he was speaking how like he had a friend who was really, really powerful, and he was a lawyer for him or something like that. And that guy used to make the joke of, hey, I'm about to go meet up with a bunch of my not famous, like powerful friends this weekend. You know, like something like it's a cabal, ha 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 ha, we control the world, blah 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 blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the joke, and then he'll go out and he's like, I love to invite you, but I can't, type shit. In which right before all that shit happened, he called a friend. I don't know why he was calling him. I can't really remember explicitly right now, but he called a friend, and a friend pretty much was like, you know, like, nah, it's cool. Hey, be safe. He was trying to make the cabal joke. He was like, nah, just be safe this weekend. And then everything went crazy. And I thought that was really, really interesting because he's like hinting at a thing. But then there was also another part inside there where it kind of was like explicit in the idea of like saying this statement, in which there was a time in which there might have been organized societies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And powers that be. But the crazy thing and the most scariest part of today is the fact that a lot of those things have ran their course, and there's not explicitly a person that's running or people that's running it. It's just kind of like all running off of I don't know if you would say human nature, but it's uncontrolled.
Human psychology, basically.
Probably like it's uncontrolled in a way in which a lot of people will believe that it's controlled, and unfortunately is not controlled, and that's what's scary. So nobody's actually controlling what the scariest next part is going to be.
I think that's the problem with capitalism, and like where the greed, where like you create this system where bottom line and profits are the biggest thing, and that's the driving force. So you get people that are going to be willing to do whatever to get the bottom line, and as that goes generation to generation, the morals go out the window. The bottom line is all that matters. So where this generation, we got to get the bottom line, but we can't do this to get it. The next generation, we got to get the bottom line, and if we got to do that, then we just have to, because we're getting the bottom line. And the morals always change and degrade, because there's this thing that you're chasing, and it always has to get bigger. And you can never lose money. So you always have to get more money. You always have to
like that back into like conspiracy land.
More ruthless. You say what?
No, I was just saying. I want you to tie it back into conspiracy land.
But like that's what I'm saying. The conspiracy where we talk about like Illuminati and these secret societies, it's not it's this group that, like you say, it's a driverless car. It's just out there running, and we've set the algorithm.
They had a real interesting concept with those with the automated cars in that movie.
Bro, I don't think this is a driverless car. I think this is controlled, and
they like that movie, and that's why I said it's so interesting when I found out Obama was behind it.
Yeah, I think there's
like they had a very interesting point to the automated car.
The car is driverless. Now there's people who make the cars who control the programming, but I think the car is actually
that's fair.
like it's people who make the car and that are telling the car what to do, but it's the driverless. Ain't nobody at the wheel.
Nah, we at the wheel, bro. We at the wheel.
Who is we?
Like people in general.
Like the average person.
The average person is The average person is
nigga. The average person in the trunk. We can't even see where we going.
Bro,
like,
it's
like
not.
we in the trunk.
I can get what you're saying. We're not driving anything.
We
We're
ain't
not driving.
this
We just having the dog on go along for the
we,
ride.
And in the trunk, we don't even know where we're going. We just hitting bumps. Boop, 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 boop. We just.
But the reason I say we're driving it as a whole is because the only way that this stuff keeps going on is because we keep making excuses to keep doing the wrong things. Like we keep making excuses to not go towards accountability.
Make excuses, but a lot of the people who aren't making excuses get dealt with.
Ironically enough, this is
a lot of the people who like are speaking the truth, truth to power,
because they don't have anybody. Those are the
people. Those are the people that get canceled. Yeah, we talked about cancel. Those are the people that get canceled,
and that's because we don't. We don't have a like.
That's not true either.
Yeah, we don't have a
Farrakhan.
No, Farrakhan is one of them, but it's a lot of it's a lot of niggas that's not speaking truth to power that's doing egregious shit.
I of course, yeah, and that's why they make it okay to cancel them, so they can go back and cancel the nigga who actually doing something. That's why they created cancel culture, so they could.
Bro, I literally think.
Okay, that was too far. I think I rolled that one back, but I rolled. You know, you say people just be saying things.
Now you was revved up. That was the problem. You was revved like you pushed that gas a couple times. You said, you know what? I'm gonna drive through the median, and that's how you end up with your car in Quick Trip. Through the front windshield.
The plaza. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, the plaza. But okay, so I ain't gonna say that's why they created cancel culture, but they use cancel culture to take away a lot of the people who are, like you say, telling people don't make excuses, who are telling people the truth, who are exposing a lot of the faults and a lot of the lies that are being told. A lot of those people, 19 Keys. Like it's a lot of those people, brother. Bit like it's a lot of those people, like on social media.
I think those are fake niggas.
Yeah, they're not showing. They're not exposing nothing.
Yeah,
they safe as shit.
I'm just using examples. I'm just, but they
give us better examples.
You give me a better. I don't know. I ain't got to do research to get. Like I can't come.
I think they shut down.
Right. I gave you.
Young Pharaoh was definitely sharing some stuff.
I gave
shut him down.
Young Pharaoh
like
was
something happened.
I gave y'all Farrakhan's. I mean, yeah, I gave my. What's yours? He gave us Young Pharaoh. What you got?
I agree with Young Pharaoh. I think that one of the easier ones would be RZA Islam. If I was.
Oh yeah, he definitely got canceled.
Shit, that's actually who I meant to say instead of 19.
Johnny, you're the only one that came out with shitty examples. Give us one.
I said Farrakhan.
Give us one. Nah, come on.
So why they cancel Farrakhan?
No, what I'm saying is like that's like the low hanging fruit. Like you just grabbed that from right there. You made us think a little bit about ours. Give us one.
Well, that's why I grabbed the low-hanging fruit. Right. Like I grabbed it so y'all could get the other fruit. I mean, I could think about it. I'm saying I could come up with some. You're gonna put me on the spot and like,
wasn't you just trying to put us on the spot?
That's what I do with you. Yeah, I'm definitely trying to put you on the spot, of course.
Oh yeah, we about 2 hours in, fellas.
Okay, let's go to Homie in the Glass and then we can get up out of here. Well, we can get out of this section. I know. Me and Tone have a long-awaited conversation.
Name an album that is a 10 out of 10.
I got a couple things in my thing too.
Oh, you want to hop in some? All right. Not needle drop. This would have been a good one just if we had time today.
Which
but
one?
Today we ain't got time. Go up a little bit. It's a black guy with glasses.
I thought you were talking about Tate.
Nah, not Tate. That was interesting too. Those guys think. Never mind. You know, the other version of Up. The top of the list.
The fuck is the other version of Up?
I know what he's talking about. Talking about this guy.
Y'all don't hate white supremacy enough for me. And I say that because I'm like, at a most foundational level, people don't understand it.
And it takes turns.
They don't know what it means. And we pick and choose the parts of it that we dislike. And we point that out and we recognize it when it happens to us, but we don't recognize the parts that we like and we participate in. Right? And what does that look like for Black people and anti-Blackness? It's colorism, right? Having a preference for light-skinned people over dark-skinned people. It's texturism. Having a preference for certain kind of hair textures. It's fat phobia, like picking on people for being fat. It's anti-poverty, like clowning people for being poor as if they created that condition for themselves, right? It is transphobic. It is homophobic. It is all of those things are bastards of white supremacy. And you don't recognize that because A, you don't read. but B, you decided for yourself that these things are not me. And so it's okay for me to cling to them as things that are preferences. Y'all don't hate white supremacy enough for me.
I first like to ask you, Johnny, do you read?
Do I read?
Yeah, he said because y'all don't read.
Well, I mean, if it ain't like, not read, bro. I ain't gonna say a vicarious reader, but I do like to read current. I'm a article reader, so I like to read the news online and read it in articles. So that's my thing.
What do you think about what he said? Did he take any turns, or was he like driving like a good car the entire way in the straightaway? Turn left? Did he turn right at any spaces?
Well, I like the direction he was going.
Okay.
I think he got out his lane a little bit.
He was headed north.
But he was in one lane, and then he was in another lane, and then he kind of just rolled up the median. He kind of like rode on the white lines.
And the white lines.
And I prefer somebody to stay in their own lane.
Y'all don't hate white supremacy enough for me. And I say that because I'm like, at a most foundational level, people don't understand it.
Yeah,
they don't know what it means, and we pick and choose the parts of it that we dislike, and we point that out, and we recognize it when it happens to us, but we don't recognize the parts that we like and we participate in. Right? And what does that look like for Black people and anti-Blackness? Is colorism.
I disagree with that.
Right? Having a preference for light-skinned people over dark-skinned people is texturism.
Is a part of,
having
what is it? White supremacy then. I'm not specific, like unless you're doing like what Kevin Samuels was doing, where you're quote unquote shaming the archetype of what a Black woman's going to eventually look like in general. When she's going to have a curvier waist, she's going to have a curvier like top. But there's a different.
About it is I'm sorry.
No,
as you were saying that, the crazy part about that is like liberalism and white supremacy. Like white supremacy might not promote it, but liberals do.
Well, all right.
So it's like it's.
No, all right. So, but I agree that the idea of what is I can't remember what the word is. That's the inverse of white fat phobia, body type acceptance or some shit like that. I do think that there's an unhealthy space of that for sure, where like you shouldn't just be accepting everybody just as they is because of like you pretty much accepting them to die really early based off of like health reasons and. You're sympathizing because you don't want to have real conversations with them. That's the reality of what like a piece of that pie is. But I'm not speaking specifically to that. The only way that I see it lean is like the archetype of what a Black woman is going to be, because she's going to be shaped differently than a white woman. And that's what I didn't like about Kevin Samuels, where like if you just specifically use BMI, that's not going to account for like what real hips look like.
Yeah.
But in general, like I said, like those are the two things that I definitely did. I did think he hit a good point with the poverty. I do think that's probably a lane of white supremacy in which we all have either experienced that oppression or have been have dished out the idea of like broke shit, XYZ. But the reality is that that's a construct of capitalism. That's a construct of like a hierarchical white supremacist society in which we value things over people. And that's not specifically people of like, say, the Black diaspora, what we were based off of when it came down to how we valued ourselves within a society. Yeah.
You think he would think Black people could be racist in America?
Come on.
This
Tone?
No, this guy that just spoke.
Do I think that? See, he got a bald head with the plastic glasses, and he said transphobic. I don't know. That that's hard. That's a hard one. So we clearly know he's super liberal. What right now is a liberal talking point when it comes down to can Black people be racist? Is it yes? No, that's more of a right wing thing. I think
right wing are claiming that white people are the victims of racism now. That's what the right is landing.
Yeah, so it's a nasty time to be alive, right?
Bro, it's a crazy time.
Yeah,
because it's like
because both lines is like playing the victim card in the nasty.
Bro,
but that's where I got my shit from last week. I see the white boy talking about they was the victims of racism, and like dying on the hill, and I just look. This shit, I was
Okay,
like,
so I actually understand that concept though.
Stop.
I think we should have that conversation one day. I understand
All
that
right,
concept though.
we're gonna save
let's save that conversation. But I think we should have that conversation one day.
Are we go?
Oh yeah, listen, I understand. Like I know where you're gonna go, and we gonna have another hip hop conversation. But
nah, it's not exactly.
But I'd say A-Tone before we get at it. This is just a question I like. These are two ones that we kind of went the gender route. Y'all are two wild boys. I ain't gonna say that y'all like single wild boys, or maybe both of y'all, maybe neither one of y'all, maybe one of y'all are single. But I would like to ask y'all this question. It's this meme right under a black woman that's smiling.
I see it. I already know.
And it asks a question. So I'll ask y'all guys.
Talking about this one?
Yeah, that one. I would like to ask y'all, would you be upset if your spouse told your friend or told a friend our sex life is boring? Johnny quiet.
I know. I'm thinking. I ain't got to
thinking.
think. I can answer this question.
All right, go ahead,
quick.
Tone.
For one, I like me personally. I'm without going into too much detail. I'm not
Nasty
worried
boy.
about getting this type of reaction, bro. Like, I'm not worried about getting this type of reaction.
But right now,
and if I got the reaction, it wouldn't hurt my feelings because I'm so used to being on the other side of that it would be like, okay, well, I finally got a challenge to meet up to.
Okay.
But
all right, so right now, I will also say is that like that becomes a space of ego, right? So you approach it in the sense that I never have, so it's pretty almost like the implicit bias of like it wouldn't happen. But given like say however you feel your history of like sex and XYZ is, if she said to and you found out through a friend, however you find out through friends, whether you look through a phone, whether it just was like through the grapevine, and she said that our sex life is boring, how would that make you feel?
Okay, so depending on the friend, also that's one thing. That's gonna be a big key.
That's what I
like
was
her best friend.
Her best friend. Like, bro, I feel like you have the right to discuss with your best friend whatever. Like, if anything, where the problem would be is that it got back to me. Like the best friend went and said something, or the fact is you can't trust your best friend, then you don't need to be talking to her like that. But
how would it make you feel?
Bro, like I said,
on both sense, because I guess
okay. So taking my own history, out of
implicit bias of like
I gave you
why are
an
you
answer.
saying things that's in house? So like there's a view of that, and then there's just like the idea of sexual experience.
Bro, like a woman talking to her best friend, and she's asking her best friend for advice, and she's saying this is an issue, and I don't know how to talk to him about this. Then I cannot be mad at her for saying it because that's what I would think she was talking to her about. Now she's just talking to talk shit.
She just said the word is boring.
Yeah, like if she's just talking to talk shit, that's one thing. If she's just venting because she doesn't know how to talk to me about it, so she talks to her best friend about it, I can't be mad at that, bro.
See.
Okay.
This is
but so all right. So in general, you wouldn't be mad if your wife told your spouse. Yeah. So
told her best friend. We said best friend, so we clarified.
Yeah, she said that our sex life is boring. That wouldn't hit you anyway. That wouldn't do anything.
I might feel a certain type of way. It'll make me want to pick myself up and do a little better. Like especially if I hear about it though. That's like if I hear about it from somebody other than her. Like now she tell me like, look, I talked to such and such.
So what you saying that if the village is starting to think like, oh nah, it ain't hitting on that.
Bro, I don't care what the village think. I really could give it. Me and the village ain't having sex, bro.
Fuck the village.
Like, yeah, bro. What they got to do with me, bro? Like, that's like at the end of the day, I'm still getting mine over here. Like, and this is where I'm at.
It might be boring, but you still getting it.
Yeah, if this is where I'm at. Nah, but it's like if this is. No, I'm looking at it like if this is where I'm at. This is where I'm at. That's it. Y'all wild, boy. Y'all wild, boy.
Nah, hey, but see, I agree with Tone. I totally agree with Tone though. But but here's the caveat I would add to it. It's and I gotta look at the word upset. Are you saying would it make me mad or would it hurt my feelings?
Both. That's why I gave both scenarios.
Two different things. and I think the situation would determine which one I might feel. Now, if I'm of the mindset that I think if we having good sex, and I hear that she says our sex life is boring, that might hurt my feelings. I was like, damn,
that's a dark.
Damn. Now, if I think the sex is boring, and she tells a friend, and I hear that might actually start a conversation to where we can be like, well, how do we make it not boring? What do we do to like improve this thing? So I think the way the communication is set up matters, the situation, like Tone said, I think the friend matters too. And not best friend or not, but if you tell like your married, if you tell your married friend that we're having.
Can she tell her guy friend?
Boys, hell no.
Now that's why I was getting at.
Okay, so
like, hell no.
That's
hell
a different.
No.
Yeah,
hell
no.
But like if you tell your married friend,
it's different than telling her single friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, is it really?
Exactly.
So,
Because the single friend gonna give a different advice. Single friend gonna be like, well, you know, it's new niggas out here.
I don't agree with that. I think there's
some you don't know the friends. Some of the friends.
Yeah, I have to know the friend.
Some of the friends will probably
she might tell her the tricks.
The married friend gonna tell her the tricks. The single friend obviously don't know.
I think it depends on
the
how
single
long
friend
that married friend been married. The single friend
the single friend might know some tricks.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Like she ain't necessarily.
The single friend has the updated iOS.
Yeah,
let's not like play around on that.
There's plenty of reasons she can be single. Like
she got the updated iOS. He got to let it go off and go on. But yeah, the single friend definitely has the updated iOS. The married friend, she got a lot of tried and true that was something that worked in 1995. Like if you still got like your 1995 routine, I think that's cool. But I don't know if that's gonna apply to me.
Nah, I mean I feel that, but like routine. I think the friend matters.
Okay.
I think like I said, I think what my thoughts on our sex life wouldn't matter because, like I said, if I didn't think it was boring and I heard that it was boring, it probably hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
If I thought it was boring and I heard her saying boring, that's gonna probably lead me to be able to open up the conversation.
Oh, but
it make it a lot easier to be like, oh, you think it's boring too? I've been thought that. What can we do?
Bro, I wouldn't. Oh, I ain't open up too much conversation at all. I'm figuring out what it is I can do to make it exciting. Like I'm
that comes with communication, though. It has to be a conversation. Like,
there is communication to some degree.
You gotta talk to her.
Hey, chat, y'all in here. Y'all, we got a couple of y'all in here. Talk to us. Let us know how you would feel about this conversation. I would say that one of the ones that y'all haven't hit on, I agree with a lot of different things y'all said. Is when in the relationship she's saying it. I ain't gonna lie. Listen, there's a time that I'm an exciting boy and I'm a boring boy. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like there's explicit points in that relationship, and sometimes like maybe that's the kick that you need to. All right, let me step back up. But to me, if it's on the early, because listen,
well, if it's early,
if it's early, you doing what it has to do to make sure that you lay the groundwork. And to me, like that's the main thing.
If she say it too early, you can't handle that woman. That's too much.
woman for you. You got to tap out quick. That's probably a woman that is not inside your grace period.
Hey, the crazy part,
but I would say that, like again, I know with me, I'm gonna do my. I tell my son this in basketball: do your work early. I'm gonna do my work early. So you have to implicitly do specific things and lay a certain groundwork to where you can have an off day.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a couple of them.
You got to knock the
so when you got the off day,
the sonic rings out
within the first 2 weeks.
Yeah,
you got
to touch the back. It's a couple things you have to do.
No,
hopefully,
let me clarify. Let's clarify here.
And it's not. I don't know. Somebody at the game night said you got to get an extended. If you got to get your own extended, do your thing. But there's a back part of that. It's a back part that you got to touch.
Somebody did say that.
As a man,
I always call it the fourth wall.
Yes, you like it's not like you got to hit that and do it inside an explicit fashion.
Like,
and in doing that, it does allow you wiggle room later on.
Oh, for
this
sure.
is true.
Yeah, for sure. Like once she
free game.
Once she knows what you can do, you
can be lazy.
You ain't got to drop 60 points every game. If you done drop 60, motherfucker, oh, that's a bucket. You ain't got to come out there and get 60 points every game to motherfuckers to know you like that.
Wasn't the thing. I tell you what though, you know that difference between like young hitting and then like when you get older, you got to change up your stroke.
Keep going. So
like as far like I mean, you know, like when you got to change up how you doing. You know, like when you're younger, you can doggone. you really beating that. Like you still can do some stuff, but it's like you got to change it up as an adult. Like
yeah, I enjoy a different version of.
Well, I think as an adult,
and that's more or less like I know for me that's kind of how it ends up being is that when I was young, and which listen, shout out to college age Q. I was doing all right. That I think that was prime Q. Like even like right now, certain things that I did then I'm not interested in. Like I don't as an adult enjoy drunk sex.
Yeah,
it's too long,
bro.
It takes too long. It's too. Listen, like during that time, it was Theory to the Madness. You did that, and it set up things way further in the future for you. And that's with multiple of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you understand what I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying. But
yeah,
like now, it take too long.
Also, but
I don't want to. Like if you gonna do that, new jump early on, you get one or two of those like those nights.
Mm-hmm.
But I ain't interested in having a bunch of those.
Yeah,
I want to go to sleep and then I'll wake up.
We in the Bahamas and we get drunk, like we on
that's
vacation.
Different.
Yeah, that's
a special time.
It got to be a special time. I'm not just having drunk sex. Like we just sitting there. I'm just
because
well before
I know that the sun will come up and I'm still going. It ain't like your fault or my fault. It's just
I'm
numb.
I'm in here.
I am inebriated.
Yeah.
Well, like back in the day, you used to get drunk like just to have sex. Like I used to get like,
not me.
Let me take a couple shots. I gotta get it. I gotta be in the mood tonight. Like I would drink just if I knew I was gonna get something later. I'm gonna go ahead and have a few drinks
show out
beforehand,
if I smoke,
just so I can get right. But now, I mean, we drink. I'm drinking now, but like I don't like doing too much drunk as a grown man. Like how shit used to be. Like Walmart trips used to be fun drunk as a like when you're in college.
Yeah.
But like shit, if I ain't doing that shit now, like ain't no way I'm going to Walmart drunk as a 30-year-old.
It depends. Like I have had a day where I went to a Mexican restaurant and I got drunk at the
day
Mexican
drinking
restaurant.
Is really
and
fun.
then it is. Like we went to the hair store afterwards and it was like
day drinking. You get to do regular shit.
I'm talking about like Walmart 3 a.m. drunk.
Oh yeah, nah,
like
that wouldn't. I don't miss those days. I can't do that now. I don't know how we did it in college. Like
we was wild.
We was wild, bro.
We was
like
just wild. That's how that shit.
Like them 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock mornings, and you still up or stand up all
not even
night.
thinking
like,
about
be a normal.
Not
thing.
even thinking about going to sleep. You just up. Like shit. We was like that. We had guys night though. Hey, shout out to guys.
I told Tone should have pulled up on a Saturday.
I had something to do.
We
Saturday.
had
I was.
a guys night R&B edition. The boys was in here, cigars lit.
Five pit
rolling, R&B, smooth, like 5 R&B going, and just good conversations. It was a good time. Tony, I think you said you had a couple for us.
Actually, I can save mine, man, because we 2 hours in. We need to get to the questions.
All right, Johnny, you want to go first, or would you like for me to
go? You go first.
All right. So I think that this is we're starting an introduction to a new series that I like to introduce to the pod. I think that it'll land us inside a lot of interesting conversation spaces. And me, I'm a researcher, so I enjoy research in itself. So we'll start.
I told you to leave me out of this too.
Oh, you're a non-participant in this?
I told you that. We talked already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now you in the conversation because Real ain't here, or we need to wait. We ain't having this conversation between two people, bro. Like he trying to wiggle out of the conversation. That means we ain't got no buffer.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'd like to introduce a new segment. We had like a little bar right here to come across. Y'all just be saying shit. This is aimed at for this episode. This empty chair over here, Rail Tone.
Blank. Let me go to the blank screen.
There we go. Rail and Tone, in which we're going to get into the conversation about hip hop. Right. We've had this conversation multiple times. And we always kind of like get derailed because we haven't like explicitly did the correct research for it. So we kind of like end up landing in a bunch of different spaces. But today, I would like to like pinpoint where we're going to have the conversation at. We got stuck in this space the last time we talked, in which we were speaking about the cultural impact of hip hop today. If it's the same, worse, or better than when we was growing up, right? I think that a really a really important caveat to have before we even get into this conversation. This is not a conversation about quality.
No, see,
it's not a conversation about like whose music was better, because of naturally there is going to be a bias because of what you grow up on is always going to be the better music. And you're going to relate to that a little bit better, more, and it is of the words and the time and the spirit of what you were growing up in. I don't want to have that. I don't say it like I have a different opinion about that, but I do want to dive into this conversation about if music today is worse than what we grew up on, right? Because I do tend to think that, especially us as millennials, we're millennials, right? We are getting to a space where we're starting to regurgitate the talking points of our parents and the parents before them and the parents before them, where every generation has said the exact same thing. And when they get old enough, they say the same thing about the next generation. And I think that if I was to, use this as a case study, it's because of, as people, Black people, people in general, we naturally get more conservative as we get older. And so what we would allow when we're younger, as we get older, is like, what I want my kids to experience or do or play within the same yard in which I played in. So again, I think that we'll hop into this conversation about if music is as good, worse, or better than it was growing up. For me, I defined out the time period before we get into it. I'm gonna throw it to y'all, and then I'll kind of like, we can respond, and we got some stats and charts and shit like that. I don't know. If we have to get into it, we'll get into it. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'll throw to y'all guys, and I'd like to see what y'all initial thoughts are when it comes down to if you think that music's impact today is worse, the same, better. I don't know.
Okay, so
hold on.
Yeah,
Let me go first, because I think you and Real were on one side. I think I was more in the middle, as I didn't really have an opinion. I think I initially had an opinion saying it was more, but then I heard your argument, and I don't know if it's worse. I think it's more the same. Like I said, I think there is a difference in what is charting now. I think the one difference is like different type of music is at the top of the charts now versus then. There's also something.
You think it's better or worse?
I think the impact is the same. The cultural shock, the newness is the same. Now, I think music gets more explicit because there's more music. Like nowadays, we have more rappers, and having more rappers mean they're gonna have more different types of rap. You're gonna have people saying
have more good, more bad,
more good, more bad, more super explicit, more graphic. It's just more rappers now. So I think there is more explicit music, but I think if we're talking cultural impact and the cultural impact of the music that's at the top of the charts, I can maybe be swayed, but I'm gonna say it's the same. But I think there's.
And you're saying, all right, so in yours was specifically at the top of the charts.
Well,
I think that's interesting space.
I think you have to wait. If we're having the conversation about impact, I think we have to have the conversation about the charts. But then, what about all the underground music?
He like the charts because he got these stats.
Listen, I agree with both of them. So like either way we want to have the conversation, I think that it's a valid way to have it. I'm also prepared to have it
on one side, but that's why I say the same.
But I would say that
validity in both sides.
And just to make sure that for us, this is, and let's make sure that we agree upon the time frame, right? For me, I define our childhood, especially mine, and I think we're all within the same time frame of like 98-ish.
98 is a good year to start.
In 03, 04.
Between 98 and 03.
Okay, so
So and to me that's elementary school to like a piece of your high school.
So you limited it because like,
oh no, we can go further up.
98 to 03. Like I just started 03. Like I just started high school in 03.
Listen,
so
I'm not. Listen, if we want to go, that's me being conservative. If we want to go further into it, that I can rope and boost it.
Okay,
I love that.
So
no, let's stay at 03.
I love that.
Hey, keep him at 03.
I love that.
So clarification, the only thing about that is when we started this conversation initially a few weeks ago, the initial point was that in the 90s, like in the 90s in general, what I was talking about when the videos I sent 97, I sent 93. But
no, the first one was 93. I think we ended up landing on 97 after the conversation. And, oh, my bad. So, Tone, I do have some concessions that I will make to the original conversation upon just researching. I think that one, I was battling on the fact of like, what's the name of it? Not R&B Soul. What Video Soul Gold? Video Soul Gold was BET's flagship.
Yeah, you was shitting on Soul Gold, boy.
Like
it was their flagship.
It was the top 20 countdown. Everybody voted for it. Like,
but there is a big but in there. Video Soul Gold didn't make it past 93, 94.
Grande Cooler.
That wasn't anything that we explicitly grew up on.
So it just became Video Soul. It wasn't Video Soul Gold.
I thought it became Planet.
It was going on.
Became Planet Groove.
Or it became something else, but we were still watching it. Like Donnie Simpson was still on there. Like
all I know is that like that's when it stopped being its flagship, because that was their flagship, but it did transition. I also will make the concession when I spoke about Rap City. I explicitly was speaking about the Rap City that we grew up on.
Tigger and everything.
Right. So there's a difference between Rap City before Tigger and Hits from the Street, See This World, and that's the 98 push.
Okay. So
in which like they like there was an explicit, like there was a change. But prior to that, the Rap City was a different version of Rap City. Well, in which I mean,
I don't even remember it.
Well,
it was different.
But before Tigger, I don't even remember what it was. Before.
But that's because that's not what we grew up on.
Right. Like, I don't even remember it.
And again, like if we want to dive into like that conversation about that version of Rap City, I am still prepared to have that. But
no,
I would like to have the. To me, when we did have the conversation, we talked about what we grew up on.
That was my part. We didn't say what we grew up on. We said in general, because we was talking about the 70s even.
So I do have the timestamps of like our conversation, just in case we got into the space.
Okay,
but there was
we was talking about the 70s, the 80s. We were talking about a lot of different stuff.
This was the recorded conversation.
But I remember this conversation. We talked about the 70s.
I only wanted to
answer
answer.
90s.
I only wanted to answer the exact and direct questions. And that's why I will make the concessions of certain things that I was incorrect.
If we just talking about our generation, that's a whole different conversation. Most of our generation was sexualized overly. Like we came right into that.
Based on the first conversation, I thought we were talking about the more of the 90s as a whole, not just
as a whole. And we was talking about the 80s. We even brought up the 80s. We brought up the 80s and the 70s.
We grew up on.
I'm cool with going that conversation too, but I want to clarify.
Before.
Oh, listen,
I don't mind going.
I know that we spoke about what was on the radio when we grew up. That was exactly what we said.
But the 90s is when we grew up,
right? And now let's
limit it
define
to just 98.
I didn't start listening to music in 98.
Okay, cool. All right, so right now you're talking about what you grew up on before you were.
I'm trying to clarify, but you keep talking over me as I'm saying.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. I'll love it.
Okay, so the thing was, we didn't just talk about the 90s. The whole point that the conversation came up with was in the 70s, there was different music that was going on. In the 80s, there was different music that was going on. The 90s started to get crazy. Like I said, if I remember correctly, I said in 2000, I marked the year 2000, that stuff really started going, there was a transition and we started going more in the route that we have today. It could have started even before that, but I would say 2000 is a good transition period where stuff started changing even more. But there was a balance of stuff. That's what I'm saying. I never was saying that the vulgarity didn't exist. There was plenty of vulgar music. There was plenty of sexuality, but there was also a lot of other stuff. What I say now is that majority of what we hear is either promiscuous, vulgar, or promoting violence. There was a mix of stuff. You don't necessarily get as many dance songs and stuff like stuff. That's pretty much how I see it.
All right, so I guess let's start honing this in, because you said 70s we weren't born, 80s
but we still know what that music sound like, and we still know what that influence.
But even in the conversation, I remember. No, I'll say this. Even in the conversation, I do remember we even spoke about like NWA in early 90s.
Oh yeah. No, again, if we want to
gangster rap,
this is why I'm let's figure out how we're funneling this conversation, right? So
I'd say just the 90s.
All right,
and we can do that. That's fine.
All right,
just the 90s.
So right now we're and because of if we're talking about that conversation, I gave the concession of in that conversation, the Diggable plan is new leaders of the new era, leaders of the new school era. In which even if we still want to argue earlier on, I can, and that's easy to do. But I get a concession of I think I said 95 at that moment. But to me, like upon research, I would rather put it closer to like 97, 96, 97. Okay. But either way.
And you're saying what happened in 97? It got worse?
No, I think that was the time. Like one, none of us was older than 8 years old at that point. So what we grew up on, like this is what actually.
You said 98? 98, I was 10.
Perfect. Again, elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Elementary
None of
school.
us were in middle school.
Yeah, like we're all really, really young still. Mm-hmm. That's the major point that I'm making.
Because a lot of the music, even if we heard it, we didn't know what it was.
Yes.
And that's the difference though. Like
right. Okay, but what actually impacted you, and that's what's like so. If right now because again I gave the concessions even inside the original one, like we're talking Tribe, we're talking De La Soul, we're talking like a lot of like these early on rappers, and reality still would be if we look at the charts, these weren't the top rated rappers, but these were prominent rappers of that time. I don't sure
no,
but I also would say that that's not anything that any of us made formative memories to when we was elementary, middle school, and high school. That's really what we grew up on. But if right now we're saying the concession is that like early 90s, when we didn't understand anything, it was better and more diverse. Hey, I'll tap out and I'll let y'all have that one because that concedes the point of what I was making.
Yeah, but I wasn't even talking about us growing up in general. What I was talking about was those people who was adults at the time. They was watching the videos and they understood it, and so that made a difference.
That's from the last conversation. That's
I wasn't
just talking about where we.
I just want to make. Then I guess like maybe I'm confused because of per last conversation we were speaking about the cultural impact that hip hop has on kids.
But I think we were talking about hip hop, early hip hop versus the hip hop today. I think it was known that we were talking about like some of that early stuff we missed, of course.
No, all right. So just making sure. So now, because like however we want to have the conversation, I'm cool at having it. The goalpost is like moving crazy. So are we talking about the impact that early 90s rap had on adults? Are we talking about what current day hip hop effects are having? Man. No, are having adults? Is that?
No, we were talking about the effect that early hip hop had on the kids of that generation. Even if those kids were a little older.
Cool. All right,
what was being promoted
versus the impact of today's hip hop.
Okay, and
on
so
the kids.
And now we're also taking ourselves out of it. So now we're
I think that's the best way to do it is talk about the.
All right, so
take ourselves out.
So now we're going from like early 80s to 95. In comparison to today,
that's not what I was trying to do, man.
I just said let's talk about the 90s.
And this is what I'm like right now we're going into like such a weird space is going to completely discount anything that we listen to. And again, like I only impact because the statements are always the radio now is worse than it was when we were younger.
Bro, my whole thing has been there was a balance to things. There wasn't a whole bunch like.
No, I would love to, but right now the hardest part of what we're doing is not diving into a specific time.
Let's just had a conversation at 98 to 03. Let's just have it there.
Talking about 98 to 03.
Let's just have it there.
Yeah, if you don't, then I'll go ahead and tap out.
I'm fine with that, but we're having a whole different conversation.
Let's just have it. Let's just have it there, and we'll see we can get the research because he done the research. Let's hear it. Let's hear the research, and then we can
go ahead and present the research. Because
I guess so. So this is my thing right now. Is getting like the conversation is not even going to happen, primarily because of I think that there's not an agreed upon, and this is why I tried to go. There was a time where we spoke about the hip hop that we grew up on, and so if we speak about that, and that's where we're having the conversation. Then I can have that conversation.
But see,
but my thing is that there's not, and we were speaking about us as kids growing up on. When you make that statement, the implicitness of it is that you're talking about you and growing up.
I can see what
and then if we're also talking about what the kids hear and how that's impacting crime, how that's impacting how they're moving, operating XYZ. to me, I understand that conversation. But if we're going into spaces in which we're talking about 70s, 80s, and then the 90s in general,
we don't.
I don't like. That's not a conversation. And then the impact of them as kids, explicit. Like, yeah, to me, it's just like a weird.
I see what you're saying, but when I was saying, and when we had the conversation from the music we grew up as kids, to me, even though I wasn't in that specific generation, the music
and that's not the music that you grew up as kids.
But I always considered that the music because.
All right.
So you didn't grow up on
NWA? You weren't listening to
I did not grow up on NWA.
Bro, not even NWA.
I grew up on the shit that was on the radio.
You wasn't listening to Outkast and all. You wasn't listening to none of this stuff that was on there.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
But Outkast was aware of it was only a very small, minute. Like, did I also hear My Neck, My Back on the radio?
Bro,
did I also hear
later on?
Hold on. But what you got to understand is back in the 90s, there wasn't as much music. So the music that came out in 93 still had an impact in 98.
Bro.
Listen,
this ain't
let's also be real. Like most niggas, like I actually did a bunch of research, and that's why I'm really, really well versed on hip hop.
Well, let's
right, but most niggas don't know Reasonable Doubt. Most people like that came out. What was that? 96. Most people can't quote Tribe Called Quest anywhere near. Like if you go anybody in our generation, 36 and under is not quoting Tribe Called Quest. I can do that only because I research. I can quote Criminal Minded KRS-One top to bottom. Came out like, but most niggas can't do that. De La Soul. Johnny, what is your favorite De La Soul record? Okay, again, my point is the fact that let's not play.
Answer the shit.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know the name of it, but
there we go.
I know the song, but yeah, no, I know I get what you're saying.
And again, I can roll like sense. Everybody that we're speaking to. Like these aren't like the most you're gonna do is Biggie and Tupac, but it's not a bunch of the shit that when you were 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 that you listen to, and that you really know. Maybe you have MC Hammer.
It didn't affect us. It didn't have impact on us.
Y'all. You still beating around the bush, bro. The music right now, like we have 5-year-olds that are sitting there, dog, on downtown thugging with their rounds, compared to us in '98. If you want to say singing, make them say That's a whole different thing.
Or you were saying back that ass up. That's
bro.
What
that's still not as bad as. My pussy pink, my booty hole brown.
Okay, cool. Hey,
or is that not as bad as my neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack? It's the same thing.
Time out.
And that's where like you begin pulling hairs, but it's the same explicit shit.
Time out. Let's do this. Let's do this. Tone. Let's hear the research. Let's hear because we know the dates.
Bro, Quintel been talking the whole time. You keep cutting me off every time I get ready to. I'm trying to clarify what I'm saying. Like what I'm saying, like because we going like what we doing is we doggone, like he said, we pulling strings. This wasn't even the conversation I was having. Quint went and did some research on a whole bunch of like to make something more complicated than it was supposed to be.
No, I just went really specific.
The whole statement we didn't have no doggone specifics when we had this conversation initially, and y'all can go back, audience, and look at the episode if you want to. When we initially had this conversation,
it was live.
I did right.
When we initially had this conversation, the whole conversation was talking. It wasn't just talking about what we grew up off of. It was talking about
Tone.
Hold on, let me finish talking. Don't cut me off again, man. Let me finish what I'm saying. When we had this conversation initially, we was talking about multiple groups of people and what they was growing up on and what the influence was and how we looked as a people in general. Black
I
people
never had that conversation.
Okay, but that's part of what we was talking about in the whole thing. Like,
no, when did we ever have a conversation about what the 80s grew up on?
We were talking about
that. We was talking about music. Hold on, Johnny, I would love for you to quote any part of the conversation when we talked about how the kids growing up in the 80s and hip hop impacted them. What was any part of that conversation?
It wasn't just hip hop. We was talking about music in general.
I can answer it like because we definitely talked about early NWA. We definitely talked about.
No, I was the only one that brought up NWA, and I brought that up inside early 90s and how that would be a rebuttal against the whole peace, love, and all that shit. I brought that up. I would love again, like 70s, 80s. Tell me when we had that conversation inside that conversation. Because I know what I said, and we can look back at it.
To me,
okay,
I was focused. Like I said, that's why I said the 90s. I was focused 70s, 80s. I don't really remember us folks. It definitely probably was said. Somebody mentioned it, but to me, when in my head, when I was hearing the conversation,
Yeah,
I was focused on
90s,
the 90s versus today, because we all were alive and growing up, and we might not have understood the music, we might not have did, but that was the music that came from the time when we were growing up.
Okay, so what I remember the conversation being was we was talking about culture, and I was saying how we had a culture in these different videos. Like if you go back and you look at the early 90s, we had a culture at different times. You go back and you look at the 90s, you go back and you look at the 80s, you go back and you look at the 70s. There was plenty of culture that black people were showing compared to now, where our culture is shaking your ass and doggone shooting niggas. That's where it's at.
And all right, so let's maybe we can end up having a conversation and we can go chronological. I think that 92, 93, 1990, even in itself, if we just go imagery of the videos, if you go Rap City, I don't think that it was like a pleasant imagery that was being pushed. There still was caricatures that was there, and a lot of it was based around hood and ghetto and negative mob mentality imagery. These were still the same things. It was a bunch of niggas in black and white videos or inside abandoned warehouses with people behind them looking thuggish and quote unquote like violent. And this is what was being pushed. Also, the content of the music, even if we just start there, it wasn't like explicitly like positive. And the best and highest selling rappers were not the guys of Tribe Called Quest. They were not De La Soul. These were not the leaders of the new school. These were not any of these guys. It was NWA. Fuck the police. It was.
So do you know why the East Coast West Coast beef started originally? It didn't have nothing to do with Biggie and Tupac. The reason that this beef started was because there was music coming out of California that was way more vulgar than what they was putting out in New York, and they had certain standards of what they want, like what they believe hip hop should stand for in New York, based off of what we stand for. So what they started doing in California with NWA and Too Short and all, like these people was releasing, they was doing stuff for them. And this is, you can go look at the documentary.
So did Mobb Deep not exist?
Just listen to what I'm saying, bro.
No, I get it. I'm just saying Mobb Deep was 92, 93.
I'm not saying there wasn't no ones or twos.
Just keep going.
Yeah, I'm not saying there wasn't no onesies or twosies there. There's always going to be that. But I'm saying majority of what the rappers was representing was not that. They wasn't representing gangster shit. Doggone California did that, and then it changed. And there was a deliberate agenda behind that. But that's
gotcha.
That's where the beef even initially started from.
So are you talking like this would then, if we're going chronological, I would love to just keep moving chronologically. That would happen to be like between 1991, 1993. Because of, for sure, the wave of, you want to say the Hennessy, Mobb Deep, what do you say?
Don't just break your nose, stab your head with I'm talking about music in general, like what our culture.
Oh, my bad.
Our cultural music, which predominantly is R&B and rap. So either way.
Oh, again.
I said music that was influencing the culture. That's why I told you to watch Video Soul Gold. They wasn't just rap.
It wasn't. And again,
hey Tone, I agree with that. Like for sure. I think there was, like, especially when the West Coast versus East Coast and how gangster rap did come from the West Coast. Like it was a different thing, and that imagery was totally different than what you were getting from the East Coast, and the impact of that, I think definitely you can
killed everything else.
But you can look at the West Coast and like how cities like LA have even responded to it. Think about like LA versus New York, and like the how people press you in LA. Where you from, cuz? And like all of that. That's born in like the gangster music of the early 90s.
I think that like this is like this is just like one of the more ignorantly, culturally oblivious opinions that you can possibly have. To pretend to
act like music was worse.
No. All right. So just in itself, in itself, that culturally, LA was any different outside of like the organization of like huge gangs than it was than in New York and New Jersey. I grew up there. I have fathers, uncles, and cousins that grew up within that area. So
did they have with their Bloods and Crips, or was it just
no?
The block?
It was it was neighborhood and
Hustles.
borough gangs. No, it was still fucking gangs. Like even if you look at the movies and you look at Warriors, it's based off of neighborhood gangs. Gangs have always operated within New York. It's
No,
New
I
York,
would
New
agree
Jersey.
with that. If you have slums,
Like-
you're gonna have gangs.
Like
though.
that. It's not like they just made like the best branding of gangs.
I think
Like,
you had
crime.
gangs.
Crime in itself existed.
But you don't
Crime
think
rap.
the branding of gangs made it more
gangs versus gang culture is two different
made it more
things, I think.
popular. Made
Well,
more,
I
you don't
can
think-
agree with that.
You don't think the branding of gangs made gangs more popular? The best branding, like they branded the gangs
I don't think-
the best. You don't think that had an influence
I think that
on the kids?
it just made it McDonald's. Was niggas gonna eat regardless? Yes.
But why do niggas
And-
like McDonald's more than they like their mama's burgers?
It wasn't just
because
that,
of the
though, too.
branding.
Like,
No,
There's
niggas
branding
don't
that-
like McDonald's more than they like.
Bro, you ask a kid.
They don't like McDonald's more than Mr. Charles.
Kids do.
No.
Kids do. Kids
No.
definitely do.
But again,
if you ask a kid, you want McDonald's or I got
we
food
about
at
to
the
be
house?
arguing hairs.
we really are.
Um,
We've been on this conversation 30 minutes, so I want to round it out and get to the next question.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, so,
Hey,
so
hey,
again,
we still gotta let my boy go through his research.
Oh well, to me, it doesn't sound like any research even matters.
Nah, we
if
might have to rework the parameters of
the
this
concession
conversation.
is that like we talking about before we were kids, and I don't necessarily
my
care
whole
to impact like argue
the
that
conversation
as long
I
as
wanted
like
to have
us
was
as
close.
millennials aren't like judging kids of today based off of how we grew up and what we listened to and saying what you're listening to is worse than what we're listening to. Like that's my point. And I will always stand on that. I think that I'm prepared to make the argument. I think that we might have grew up in the worst time to have listened to music and have like it had the worst cultural impact. But what I'm safe to concede to is the fact that I think that it's even at worst. I think at worst it's even.
Let's leave it there.
But
no, I will say this. I think we was more ignorant to what we were listening to compared to the children of today. Does that make sense?
We didn't know the impact. I think
we
the
didn't
kids
know-
today know more of the impacts of hip hop, where we didn't know how far hip hop would take it. Like our parents told us. Like I remember my mama telling me hip hop was gonna be dead in 20 years. Ain't nobody even gonna be listening to Kanye in 20 years.
Oh,
my
yeah, nah, I ain't
my
hear
mama
that.
legit said that.
well,
Like-
your mother was older when she said that. I think the average mom grew up on hip hop inside our generation, or some like close enough to a version of hip. No, they grew up in hip hop. Those
Yeah,
those were the 80s, 90s.
My
generation.
parents are definitely a little older, and that's why they said that. So I give you that. But
You know, I don't concede that, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I think we should rework the parameters of this conversation because I really wanted to have the conversation.
I
from
don't
a
know
place of
what
culture.
I really don't
And-
know.
and-
what
We'll
the-
discuss it off camera.
and
but-
honestly, this is a conversation best reserved for when my boy Red.
that's why I wanted to have
It is
Red
best-
here. We
like,
need
it
him
is-
here.
It is best reserved for Red.
Oh, maybe. I think that
we
the
need him
reality is
here.
that a lot of like maybe y'all were having two different conversations. But
Nah, we need him here to make some sense out of some things. Like
I don't
it
think
helps.
we had parameters to what
Yeah,
we
we
was- I
didn't
think
have
we were-
parameters, and I think we was having two different
Hey,
conversations.
listen, fellas, don't worry. I'll clip it. I'm gonna just clip all our things. I'm gonna make us a nice little montage of exactly what we said
No, that's cool.
because of I only did the research based off of the conversation,
Hey, yeah,
and I
but-
wanted to explicitly do it that way. But
if we had the conversation based off of 98, I wouldn't have sent you no videos from 93, bro. Like
But-
I was talking
oh,
about
no,
the
but
90s
that was
in general.
that
And
video
that
sent.
we had culture that we don't have now.
Oh no, I get it. The video you sent was prior to us having the conversation, and then we had it. And then we talked about 97. But I do want to leave off with this. These are our top 20 urban
had to do it
of today.
Mm-hmm.
Had to do it.
Jack Harlow, Loving on Me, Doja Cat, Paint the Town Red.
Red Flag.
What net record is crazy? Or are you just talking about Doja Cat?
Doja Cat in general.
Oh no, I'm just like we're speaking about how detrimental
Now her
the
image,
music is.
the image is part of the music.
Oh,
bro.
okay. So we're not talking about like the actual music anymore.
And the artist
All
is
right,
part of the music.
the
bro. You
next
can't sit
person
there and make
is
it- like you just had that conversation last week. Go ahead though.
this was I don't know where we ever gonna have the conversation at. If we never like, but I'll go to the next number 3, Tyler Water. Number 4, Doja
Make me
Cat.
sweat.
Yeah.
Make me hard.
Agra Hills. I don't know what that song
Agora
is.
Hills.
Oh, Gore. All right,
that's a beat. That's a Troop sample. Tough ass song.
Tough.
You know Troop back in the day. All I know.
All I do.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Drake, Sexy Red, and SZA, Rich Baby Daddy. That's number 5.
Red Flag.
Lil Boo Thing, Paul Russell.
I don't even know. I do know that song. That's a good song. I do know that song. Yeah, I do know that song. Okay.
Dave, Central C, Sprinter. These are UK bulls. SZA, Kill Bill. Gunna, Fuck You Mean. Too Much by Kid Leroy, King Juk, Central C.
Man, you ain't gotta go through all 20 of them. We get it, bro. We get it.
Just wanted to make sure I just went through it.
We get it.
I think
just insert your list in the thing. We'll look at it.
Get it,
bro.
we get
it's on there, but
I see what you're doing.
All I'm saying is
I see what you're doing.
I'm trying to figure out
we're not having bro,
where the crazy toxic.
I see what you're doing.
You named a few of them in there too, bro.
Which ones? I think at best you can give me one. But
hey, fellas.
There you go, Johnny.
Why don't we just land the plane?
Yeah.
We can take back off next week.
Yeah.
We'll have a full crew.
Off the Rich Baby Daddy.
We'll have all that. But cause I got one I want to get off too. I think it'll be just as interesting. We can get into it. I think you'll like this one, Tone.
Mm-hmm. you said that, but I okay. I think it's kind of
Johnny was riding with you that whole time. God damn.
Hey, Tone had a week off and came back stressed the fuck out.
Nah, go ahead.
We got him bad, but I think what I want to go with this week. Hey, and shout out my boy Trey. Hey, I sent you the link, bro. Tap in.
Very Trey scared.
I sent you the link. But
we ain't worried about scary.
Me and Trey. Hey, bro, know something because me and bro had a really good conversation the other day, and we was talking about every time we talk, bro, it go all over the place. But what we came to was
I need to mediate y'all conversation.
That shit would be fun because like we argue for 3 hours straight, just arguing, kind of like you and Tone, but we ended with or the consensus, the conclusion of the conversation ended with like a question, and it was, what religion has been better for Black people globally, not just including America, but what religion has been better for Black people globally, Islam or Christianity?
Yeah.
And I don't really know. I got an idea when I think about it, when I look at, even if you look at like Africa and you look at the Muslim countries versus some of the Christian countries,
okay,
what is going on is hard.
Where you landing at, Johnny?
If you look at the impact Christianity has had on Black people in America, in this country, it's hard to argue that Christianity has been more beneficial for Black people than Islam has, because like even in America, you look at Nation of Islam and a lot of the work they've done to even counterbalance some of the work the Black church or some of the damage the Black church has done to our communities. It's hard to argue that Christianity is any better as a Black person, a person of color in the diaspora globally. It's hard for me to argue that Christianity is any better for me as a person of color than Islam, because I see, look at Northern Africa and look at all the wealth some of these Muslim countries have accumulated. It's real tough for me to sit and argue for Christianity when I just see everything and look. So that's, I don't want to be biased, but my question is, which religion would be better for Black people, Islam or Christianity?
I like that, Johnny. You was in your bag. You was on.
All right,
like
so which
that.
one?
That was a good little bag that you got in.
All right. Yeah, which religion you think would be better? I'm gonna answer last.
Okay, cool. Shout out to Johnny. Would you say knowledge, wisdom, understanding?
I like that.
That's shout out to the Nation of Gods, which is a faction of, well, they had similar founders to Nation of Islam. It's Nation of Gods and Earth. 5% of, shout out to the port. This is also a piece of where a lot of that ideology comes from.
Poor righteous teachers who've been on it.
But I'm biased. Like, this would probably be the closest where my biasness would come up. Where some of my early memories is seeing Minister Farrakhan speak inside an arena full of black folk. Even though, like, one of my earliest memories was being baptized. This is kind of crazy. Like the duality in which I grew up in.
You a real Gemini.
But I would say that Islam, easily. But that's based off my life experience. I would love to hear like the rebuttal to it.
Let's see.
But if I was to even go like, if I drive down into it, we just was inside a hip hop conversation. Talk to me. What's today's mathematics? What is that based off of? That's all the early 90s. All of early 90s. If we want to talk about Wu-Tang to De La to Tribe, all they speaking of is nations of gods and earth.
That's what you're talking about.
They talking about 5%. They talking about F the 85ers. That's where we at. All of that is Clarence Thomas. All of that is one of those founders of where? Nation of Islam. We talking talk. I'm listen again. Like these are.
Hey, look. I was telling my boy Trey. We was at the march together.
Oh yeah.
We was front row to see Farrakhan. I seen it.
Hey,
I seen the fruit out there. Don't fuck with the fruit.
Oh no, you don't. And explicitly, why I fuck with intelligent black women is like there's a value in that. Like we was there. You seen them women dressed head to toe all white with them scarves and shit.
Oh yeah, speaking of you missed you skipped out on us at one point. We had a couple of them. We was up at, I think it was Howard. But we was in the gym. You had already skated on the board.
I know you're talking about. Yeah,
he had already skated.
I had a side mission. You seen the side mission pickup? The side mission pickups be different.
You had already skated on. We had some work, but you had already skated on us.
Yeah. But yeah. So again, I would say, and again, I do think that there's caveats in which like you can speak about the Arab slave trade for sure.
Oh yeah.
And like that was a heavy impact inside, especially Northern Africa.
A lot of that's still going on today. Modern
to this day. But if I'm speaking about like the idea of freeing black folk and quote unquote what we used to define as woke, I'm gonna go Islam. I think that there is an implicit push to challenge the status quo of what is given to us and what is defined as what you should be and how you should operate. And I think that is really, really good for black folk.
Here's another easy one. And I won't tone the rebuttal to this one. I'm gonna leave it here. I grew up Christian. Grew up in a black church. I ain't anti-church. I ain't anti-Christian. I just ask these questions because I don't know. But I do know as ADOS, FBA. Only one of those two religions was used to control us. And it was Christianity. So
let's clarify. How is Christianity used to control us?
The Bible was the only book we could read.
So how was that used to control us? Further go along.
Because that was the.
But slaves couldn't read, right?
There was a reason they let us read the Bible.
So let's do some clarification because I hate that we keep saying this. So for one, the Bible existed before it came to slavery. Two, the Bible that the slaves was reading was something that their slave masters gave to them, and it was a version that was actually a slave Bible with a whole bunch of books missing out of it. So they was literally giving them a controlled substance. Now that's not to blame on Christianity. Christianity didn't do that to you because Christianity is following Christ. Them people weren't following Christ, bro. So that's what I don't like.
But
This
that's
is
what they
hold up,
refusing.
hold up,
That's
hold
what
up,
they
hold up.
refusing.
Stop. Because this is gonna be the last time we had this conversation. So
Oh.
for one, this is something I actually believe in. So when we having these conversations, the way that it actually comes off of, y'all, you haven't, if you're gonna have a conversation with me about something that I actually believe in, and I actually believe in God, and I believe in Christ, and I'm a follower of Christ. That's what would make me a Christian. Not because I say, oh, I'm a Christian. If you don't believe in it, you ain't following it, and you're not doing what the Bible says, then you ain't no Christian. That's the whole thing. What the Bible tells us to do in this case, of even this conversation, is that this is a fruitless conversation, basically, because we're not really talking about anything. If you choose to believe, you got the right to choose whether you believe or not.
But
And I
Tone,
leave
I
that
grew
to
up in the
anybody.
church. Like I understand you can have that energy for him. No offense,
Bro.
but he ain't grow up in the church.
Did you
I
follow?
I grew
Listen
up
to what
in
I
the
said.
church.
Listen to what I just said. Now I just sat there and said, if you're a Christian, you follow the Bible. Did you follow the Bible? Did you do what the Bible said? Did you have an understanding of the Bible to even know what it's talking about? Because if you did, then you wouldn't be sitting there having a conversation with me talking about how they use slavery how to use the Bible to control us in slavery. If
But
you
that's
actually
what
read
happened.
it, nah, bro.
That's not, they not use
listen to
the
what
Bible.
I'm saying. Listen to
I
what I'm
understand
saying.
I don't understand what it says.
You're
I'm talking
making an
about real
irrelevant point.
facts.
My whole point is, if you actually read the Bible and you was a Christian and you lived that life, then you wouldn't be asking me this question. You would know what that book say. You would know exactly what that book say. And it wouldn't be a question. This wouldn't be a question you asking. So you didn't grow up. You grew up in the church, but you didn't grow up a Christian, bro. You didn't grow up like, if you would know what it say.
I've read. I just don't believe everything it says. And I believe there.
That's
a
fine
lot
if
of the
you don't
people,
believe everything. But you can't.
I just believe a lot of the people who taught me about the Bible didn't know the shit either.
I agree.
And so
But
how can you be mad at me for not believing the teachers,
bro,
of the shit when even they don't know? And when you ask as a kid, when I ask these questions to preachers and stuff, if they don't have an answer for me, how can I have faith in that?
Bro, the reason I'm mad at you right now, and I'm not really mad. The reason I'm not mad because I don't want to sit there and make it like that.
It ain't.
What it more so is that I'm upset because you're not a child anymore. You're an adult. You can read it now and figure out what it say, but you're still talking from a place of being. You're being willfully ignorant. That's what it comes down to. You're willfully being ignorant about something that you don't know about, and you keep asking me questions from a standpoint that has nothing to do with what the Bible actually say. Or even what the Quran say, because even the Quran, they would say that, I'm pretty sure in the Quran, they would say this is a fruitless conversation even there.
What would be a fruit?
Yeah,
having a conversation about religion is fruitless.
Or having a conversation about which religion is better for black people. Choose what you believe in, and we all got to deal with whatever the consequences is, or whatever the rewards, or whatever the results.
But that's individual thinking. I'm not talking like individually. You can choose whatever fucking religion you want. You could go fucking be a pagan. Like,
so which one of these has liberated black people in any case?
I'm saying which one has been better. That's the question.
Well, no,
which one has been which one has been better? Like, and it ain't personal. I ain't trying to come.
I know that
because you're Christian, but I'm just saying, like, outside of like having grew up in the church and never gotten that much from it. Like I used to go every Sunday, not having got that from it, and having gone to Nation of Islam functions and seeing real life work. I saw how the black people operated with the Nation of Islam versus how they operate in the black church.
Okay,
and I can only question based on that, and that's the only thing I'm saying. It's just based on how black people act in the church and how black people act in Nation of Islam.
So
which one is better for us?
I just
that's my only question. I ain't even talking about the books. I'm just talking about the people in the religions. Which one is better for us?
Gotcha. I guess I want to answer two questions. Well, I think is a statement I love to react to. Fruitless conversation. One, I guess I don't know if like this is like explicitly a doctrine within, say, like the Christian religion or Islamic religion or any religion, but I would imagine that if, and again, like I always try to make sure that I approach the conversation in which I don't try and tell you what you're saying is wrong, but there's always going to be questions, and I'll give my experience, right? In which I think that in general, everybody kind of does. Like you give your experience in what your walk of life is, and whatever like you believe in which a lot of these conversations end up being conversations of belief, of faith, right? And to say a fruitless conversation, I think that's like really, really interesting wording, in which if you are of like actual Christian like faith, and you believe that to be like the way of life. Is this a conversation with open-minded individuals in which you're only expressing in specific, like I don't specifically think of myself as closed off. I don't think of Johnny as closed off. I think that these are like really interesting questions and conversations to have, in which if, say, for example, we are in the fray. We're guys that are still figuring out where our belief system lands at. And say, like, you have, like, for example, say you believe that you have the best version of a belief system and your way is the right way. Is this fruitless if you have receptive minds that are willing to have a conversation and they're willing to like put out what their actual experiences are and hear what your experiences are and what your belief is inside a conversation to get to an endpoint? Is that fruitless? I would challenge you to say that that probably is the challenge of every religion, is to where like you probably are looking to convert what they call a non-believer, and not leaving like non-believers in the sense of like these are atheists. These are people that don't believe in anything. These aren't moral people. These aren't people that stand on any version of principle. Is that fruitless? If these are people that are in conversation, looking to seek knowledge, looking to seek understanding, looking to seek, you know, information in general, is that truly a fruitless conversation?
Yes. And, and the reason that I'll say that it's a fruitless conversation is because the conversation came from a standpoint of which one of these is better. Like what?
I think that is probably a valid point. And
Okay, that's the best way to have an open-minded conversation.
And to become,
because I ain't dismissing either one of them.
Right. And to become offended on comparisons in which our world exists on comparison. It's like I think that like that's more triggering for you. Like you're responding off a triggered like response more than anything, because of how else do you get to an end goal? Like the reality is like there are predominant religions inside this world. And if we like speak specifically to like what could possibly help us, and then like how do we relate to each other? Shit, we are all black folk in here. And that specific thing has been a thing that has indoctrinated us. That has been a thing that has impacted us on side, whether it's personal, institutional, social, economic. These are things that are real. So if we then look at, say, a doctrine to live our life, and then speak towards how has that impacted us and which one has been more beneficial objectively, because of like the reality is that like, and I imagine posing that question, you're looking for an objective answer, right?
Right. Yeah.
So then if we're saying that like if we're comparing those two objectively, and we're looking for, again, like you are the Christian of the council right now.
Okay.
So I would imagine that instead of saying it's fruitless, you would bear the fruit of what it has done.
Let's listen to this. Are you about to convert to Christianity after this, Johnny?
I've been a Christian. I've been baptized.
No, I'm asking, are you about to go back to Christianity after this conversation? Or are you about to decide, like, is this a conversation where you're going to decide to be either Islam or a Christian?
If I hear good arguments on either side, I'm open to either one of them.
So the thing
that's why I'm
about that
having
is,
the conversation, because I grew up Christian, and like I understand what you're saying, but like my experience in Christianity was totally different, and it led me to this spot, and that's why I'm having this because I don't want to totally abandon it. I don't want to just be like fuck Christianity. That's why I'm having a conversation, because I look at Islam and I'm like, damn, I see what it's done for them. I see how it's affected these people's belief system. I see what kind of community they go on. I see how the people respond to this man. I see what this man stands for in his religion. And I ain't saying I'm all the way there, but I'm like, damn, I see that. I also know what this has. I know this has benefits too, which show me the benefits of this.
So the thing is, when we started this conversation initially, you were sitting there talking about how, like, and you always talk about this, how bad you got treated in the church. For me, that wasn't my experience.
I didn't say I got treated bad. I'm saying there's things that happened that I didn't agree with, and I never got proper answers for it. I posed the questions back then too. I was like, so what's up with this? And I got that. That's why I have these questions to this day.
So I would say,
Tom, I want to hop in really quickly.
And I ain't even talking about the book. I'm talking about the people in the religion. I'm talking about how their religion affects the community. I'm talking about how black Christians operate, how black Muslims operate. I'm talking about like I ain't talking about the book, I ain't talking about the scripture, I ain't talking about the actual word. I'm talking about the benefits to our communities, the tangible
we
benefits.
out here having the most fiery,
the tangible
religious
benefits
conversations
to
on YouTube,
our communities, because like I know you're a Christian, but I also know what the black church, how the black church sold out the young black guy in the 90s with the crime bill. That was endorsed by the black church.
So there wasn't any black Muslims involved in that. Everybody was just a black Christian.
Everybody I seen that endorsed it was Christians.
See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. That's not true.
So the Nation of Islam,
bro. What I'm saying is, you have people. You don't know what people's religious beliefs and everything is. If you're looking,
I'm saying Bill Clinton went to the black church for
Hey,
this endorsement.
real quick, let me hop in real quick. And to me, if I'm operating as an outside observer, right, of like what I would explicitly say is probably one of the downfalls of, like, say, Christianity. And this is a bit of like an earlier conversation that I was having on the podcast about, like, you know, spirituality, XYZ, and people saying no more, blah, 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 blah. But it's because of most of my experience as a young adult has been, or even like a kid, has been as an outsider to what the dominant culture is. And I think that right now, Tone, and this is not to call you out, but to call you out, would be that what you exercise, and this is why I like hung heavy on like the fruitless thing, is that you exercise the thing that has driven most people away from Christianity. And where instead of, and this is also, and like as I went Nation of Gods or Nation of Islam, in which they dive into, is that you propose, and this is where like Malcolm X was amazing at, right? Like you propose a question, they're going to answer with answers, and they're willing to have the conversation fully out with you, and they will dive into exactly how they feel their ideology can suit and benefit you as the person, right? In which Christianity typically takes the other role, where it's like almost damnation if you question, and like you're beneath me if like you have like any rebuttals. And that, whether you felt as though you did, or like it's just kind of like how it ends up coming off, is that there's a piece of it in which it becomes almost irreproachable. Like you can't really say anything, and if like you question things, instead of getting answers, you get ridicule.
So where did I ridicule anybody at?
You just said it was fruitless to have this conversation.
That wasn't ridiculing. That's what the Bible actually says.
No,
that's not ridiculing.
So
bro.
the Bible said that if
what
you
I'm saying is,
this,
what does this yield? What exactly does this conversation yield?
So for me, what does it yield? I could go either fucking way, and if you give me a right answer, I'd rock with Christianity. You could have a believer. And a road, I'm loyal as fuck. Like I hold shit down. Like it's my job. I've been at my job for 10 plus. Like I hold shit down. Like ask my mom and them how loyal I am. Hey, how I held it down with the port. I'm loyal as fuck when it comes down to me and things. So if Johnny P have a conversation like that, and I'm asking, which way should I, like, how does this religion benefit me as a black man in America? I can see how this one does. My loyalty is to this religion. And so before I just jump ship, my question is, how does this religion benefit me as a black man? And I ask that, and I get kickback.
It's fruitless. Like that's fruitless. How is that a real fruitless
and you tell me it's fruitless? Like how am I supposed to feel?
The guy's just going to be like, hey,
somebody,
you can put some shit in your community.
As somebody on the fence, how am I supposed to feel?
If you take a word that like fruitless and make that something like it's a I forgot how you just worded it. Like it's like, nah, that's not what that means.
Ridicule.
I wouldn't say in the conversation. Like what I'm saying is,
how else can you say? And you also said that you're not going to have this conversation again. Like again, to me,
because the conversation is coming. We keep having these conversations. This isn't the first time. Every single time that we have a conversation,
but it ain't about your beliefs.
Hold up. every single time that we have a conversation as far as religion, the place that it comes from is y'all joking Christianity. Every single time you start off laughing. Even if you look back in the footage at the beginning of this conversation, y'all started this off as a joke. When we talked about it before the show, it was a joke to y'all. It was funny.
Hey, Tone, I would love to ask you this question because you said every time we have this. Explain when and where. When we just I actually started this the season off with a lot of spiritual conversations. And my conversation was about spirituality versus religion. And I actually took these like the religious, quote unquote, spiritual, not spiritual, but Christian perspective in the entire conversation. There was never a joke inside this. Explain to me. I would love to hear the
Christian perspective if you're missing Christ out of it.
No. What I spoke about was the idea of taking away a a belief system and a doctrine and just saying that you believe some shit and going willy-nilly. There was never a joke about it. It was actually I would love to hear where that diverts from your point.
And and Tone, I'm gonna say this too before I'll let you go. But these conversations ain't never like a question or joke on your beliefs. Like it ain't like we're come like, oh, Tone's a Christian, so this would be good to have like for Tone because he's a Christian and it'll get him riled up. I literally think about this shit all the time, and I ask these questions for my understanding and the way I see the religion and how I operate in the religion based on what I know and how I feel about it. So and like I said, I respect your beliefs, and I don't want you to ever think that niggas don't like
and
respect your beliefs.
And I like to build on that real quick,
conversations.
Johnny. So like we were just having a conversation on Saturday about free will, right? In which if we just like explicitly look at the outro of the project, right? In which pretty much the entire last verse is me expressing a point through Christianity. That and you ask, hey, you grew up Muslim. How can you express this point through Christianity? Like you asked that question as we was there. And the point was the fact that this is the dominant perspective in which I grew up in which it allows me to have the conversation of the overall meaning. Most things aren't like explicitly about, like he said, questioning you or a individual religion. A lot of times, what has been the status quo of America, what has been the status quo of the Black community, what has been the status quo of us, revolves around what niggas do on Sunday a lot of times. And like what most people, again, I've always been a minority. Most people, it's Christianity. So it like if you also like are the dominant religion, like you got to wear both sides of it, in which like there is a space where you're going to be overly criticized because of you are the dominant religion. But reality is that like if you got the answers, like you answer it with answers.
Bro, this is the thing. The question that y'all are asking me is not if you try to talk about Christianity and not include Christ in it, and it's coming from a place where it's not Christianity. And that's my whole thing. Like we having a conversation about which religion is better. Islam believes in Jesus. I'm not going to go all the way there, but they believe in Jesus and they refer to him as a prophet. Christianity, we believe in Jesus and we believe that he's the Son of God.
Yeah.
That's the difference in the two. Like, or one of the main differences. There's some other stuff there that I'm not about to go all the way deep into, but what it comes down to is,
and I understand that, Tone, but I'm talking about relationship to community. Like outside of the actual religion, how do the Black Christians act? How do the Black Muslims act?
What is
this is one of the things
to
I
our
think,
community.
This is one of the things I think most of our community ends up interacting with Christians more. So you have more opportunity to where a human can, which this is what Christians are, humans. And they're still going to be sinful and do sinful things and do things that aren't right. The whole thing is if they acknowledge their sin. Like what a lot of people tend to get caught up in, and this is in general, outside of religion or anything, people always remember the worst stuff that happens to them. They remember the worst way somebody made them feel. And if that applies to a Christian, they remember that even more. It seems like it's a big, like it's a bigger thing.
I think that's explicit.
But I ain't even talking.
I think this is people in general.
I ain't even talking about individual Christians. I ain't talking about like no one Christian.
I'm not just talking about one person either. What I'm saying is that people in general remember how people make them feel. So if you're around, if most of the people who are around you proclaim to be Christians, your experience is with mostly Christians. So you're going to be hurt by more Christians than you would be hurt by more Muslims if you're not around any Muslims.
Right. So as a person who grew up around mostly Christian and been hurt by mostly Christian, like
this is what I'm saying.
But
it doesn't matter.
I have a right to question it. That's all I'm saying. As a person,
you have a right to question.
I have
it,
a
this
right
is what
to
I'm
question
saying.
it.
All right,
basically, hold on. Let me just get this point out. What I'm basically saying is, no matter what route you go in whatever organization that you choose to be in, you're going to have good people in the organization. You're going to have people who don't necessarily reflect what you think the organization is. You're going to get both sides of things.
Gotcha. All right, so
100%. You're right. He's right. That's
no. I get that. All right, so Tone, but I guess to me, what I hear from him is that like he's asking, and like specifically, what is like your answer to the question though? If you're answering it from a Christian perspective, what has Christianity done more beneficial to for black people? Because of obviously,
I'm not going to answer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and allude to the question because I said in the beginning that I wasn't going to answer this question, and I'm still not going to answer this question because this is the part where I still don't think that's a. Bro, I don't think you should decide your religion based off of whether it benefits black people the most. I don't like that's what it comes down to for me. I don't think you should base your belief system off of whether it benefits black people the most. Christianity is beyond black people, and that's what people not understanding. This is a world religion. There are people around the world who believe in this. There are people who are in the same place, occupying the same
world
area.
that believe in
Islam,
Judaism and Islam
and everything.
too. They're all Abrahamic religions. They all come from the same place. So there's some root in all of them.
But to sit there and just like try to figure out what your belief system is based off of black people, I think is where you're losing it. Like this, neither one of these religions is exclusive to black people. None of it is. None of them is supposed to be. A religion shouldn't be exclusive to one people.
Okay, and so that's your answer. Neither one.
Yeah, neither one. If I got to bring it
religion,
to an answer, like
I
don't think you should.
So you believe religion isn't benefit like black people. We shouldn't have a religion and the things we need to do.
No, that's not what I believe. I believe that you should. I like now. If you want to ask what I believe you should follow Jesus.
We're in a really good space.
Hold on. Let me clarify real quick.
I like this.
Let me clarify. If you want to talk about what I believe that you should follow Jesus, but I can't force that on anybody. It's not my job to force that on anybody.
So say what you think would be best for black people, them being Christian or them being Muslim.
Bro, I think what would be best for anybody, not black people. I'm not just talking about no black people because I don't like that conversation. I think what would be best for anybody. I think what would be best for the world is if we was following Christ.
Okay, so your answer is Christianity. That's your answer.
Yeah,
that's your answer is you think Christianity would be better for black people.
I think Christ is the way, bro.
I'm cool. Now, come with me. Come with me. I understand where you at. I get that. I totally understand that. Like I said, I don't want to keep on harping on it, but I couldn't do anything on Sunday if I ain't go to Sunday school or I ain't go to church. Like I grew up in the church. I read all of that shit.
So let me clarify.
But no,
I didn't say I think church is the way, bro. I think Christ is the way.
So what's the difference between Christ and church?
There shouldn't be a difference between Christ and the church, but there is because in the world.
In real life, what is the difference?
What's the difference between
like
Christ
right
and
now,
the church?
like today? What's the difference?
Christ is Jesus, bro. Jesus didn't like if you, like the difference is what is in the word.
What does that mean? What does Jesus mean? Like what does that mean? Like if somebody who's operating in Christ, how do they operate different than somebody that's just operating in Christianity? Like
Bro,
what's the difference?
Christianity is supposed to be reflective of Christ, and it's like you just taking a play on words. Christianity is the belief in Christ. If you don't believe in Christ, then you're not a Christian. Like if you're not following what the word says, then you're not a Christian, whether they call themselves that or not. Like they can call themselves that, but they're not being representative of that.
So you have to really believe in Christ.
You really believe in Christ, then you're a Christian. And there are good representatives, and then there are people who don't really believe and they're just exploiting people.
I got one more. No, I got one more. I got one more. I got to get this off. If the belief in Christ, that's what makes you a Christian versus just somebody that goes to church and reads the Bible, is the actual belief in Christ. How does that belief make us better as black people?
That belief makes you better because if you believe in Christ, then you actually do. Like when you really believe something, then you're gonna eventually follow it. You tend to follow that more. So just explaining how this works in my life with having the Holy Spirit and everything, and how this works for me. like what makes me better is their thing. There are plenty of times where I might not realize something about myself, but when I read that word and I get in that Bible, there's stuff that I realize like, oh, this is wrong. Like the revelation comes to me because it's literally like this is. I have a hard time explaining this, bro, but like, cause a lot of people find it ridiculous if they ain't experienced, but God be talking to me like in multiple ways. It's like you can feel this in your spirit.
Right. All right. So, but I guess so. Like you're getting to a little bit more of the why, but I think that's what the question begs is the why. As I kind of like was over there, I was listening, and you said you do believe that Christianity is the best, or no, following Christ is best for all people.
Mm-hmm.
Why? To me, like that's the question that I would ask. I would just ask why.
So the reason why is because of what Christ spoke in the stuff that he believed in. If everybody actually listened to what Christ said, then we would just all be out here loving each other, and that's it.
Right. But all right. So, but imagine if you did if you fed. Imagine if you. I'm trying to think of like a really good comparison of like a person that's starving and you fed them the meal that they always wanted. Right. Right now, if you're selling to us, to the viewers, to like we never know. Like once we post this out and we clip it up, how far this goes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if like the idea is right now, you're answering like, hey, well, why? I think more than saying, hey, look it up and research it and do your own thing. There's probably some things that could probably plant a seed. Bro, there's always seeds to be planted.
The seed I'm trying to plant is for people, and the only seed I'm trying to plant, and the only seed that I should be trying to plant as a believer is for people to seek out Christ, bro. And the reason they should be seeking, and the reason I want them to seek out
Christ. And if
Christ,
they say why?
Okay,
no. A better question is, what does that look? Seeking out Christ, like, because it's not just reading the Bible, and it's not just the actual belief in Christ. What does that look like?
That includes praying, bro. If you pray to God, God gonna answer, bro, and I believe that 100%.
And praying means actually believing in like true faith,
actually believing in what you're praying in. Okay. That you actually like.
But do you think that like most of the Christians that are in churches believe? I guess I personally believe that most people that go to church.
Bro, he's already said that. He said the most people that we grew up around that say they aren't Christians.
Right.
He's already said that.
But
so
no, I get that.
He's coming from a different.
Let me go down the line. But so are you saying that most people that go to church don't believe in God and don't see Christ as like their person?
What I say
from
is,
what
I don't want to say most, bro. I would say there are a good amount of people that don't actually read what the Bible says, don't do anything.
All right, so it's a matter of like reading, because you were just speaking about belief.
So
I think most of them believe for sure,
bro. Okay, so this is the thing, like
dogmatically believe at that.
And it's like I'm trying to explain. The reason I have a hard time explaining this
is the thing about like breaking things down. If you're really knowledgeable, is that if you can make it digestible for kids, that means that like you can really explain it, and that it is consumable to the masses. Like we are the masses. Like,
okay, so if we was making it simple, I would be bringing this down to just straight up like this. We are born in sin. What humans mostly do is evil. We're going to be susceptible to that our whole life. The Old Testament speaks of this, and it shows constantly. Like the Old Testament is all about what happens when God's people was following him, and what happens when they decided they wanted to do their own thing and they didn't want to follow the stuff that he told them.
That's Judaism and Christianity.
Okay, so that's basically in the Old Testament. That's all they're talking about. The New Testament talks about how we found redemption through Jesus Christ. The same way that Adam committed the sin and humankind was put into sin because of what Adam did, what Jesus did freed humankind. We have free will on the choice on what we choose, if we choose to believe in that or not. What the Bible says is if you choose to believe in this, then you're saved. Simple as that. But if you choose not to believe in this, then you're gonna, you suffer the consequence of being with this world. This world is in sin, in flesh. I'm trying to explain these things like, I think I'm being pretty
straight,
clear,
bro. Keep on going, bro.
We just sitting here listening, my boy.
Okay, so
like you're doing like the thing that begs the question.
You're doing the thing.
So the whole my whole purpose is the only thing that I would believe. I want people to find Jesus because I think that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I do believe that the way to overcome sin and to overcome this fleshful nature through my experience, because that's what keeps driving me every day to not do stuff, like to not do the wrong thing or to push forward more. Not that I don't do anything wrong, but it's like when I do something wrong, I feel bad about it. I feel terrible about it. The Spirit convicts me about it because of my belief.
I feel that. And
well, I didn't have, I guess I didn't specifically, I didn't have a rebuttal. I think that I had a way of rounding it off and then you can land the plane. But I think that so Tone, what you just did was like the thing that the question begged and the thing that we was asking. I think that is really, really beneficial. I think that as well inside any of these conversations, again, like I said, I tend to approach these conversations like I'm usually an outsider, and sometimes I'll beg questions of both sides. Like I'll question both sides of things. I think that in what you just did is like, for me, the most fruitful thing, where all you have to, like, if you just give your opinion in which
your belief,
understand that in this podcast and us as people,
us as friends
as well. Like my job and what I never am doing is like pushing to disprove or like explicitly say that whatever your belief system doesn't exist and is wrong. That's not even like I've explained existential nihilism, which means literally whatever you believe is true to you. And so like in imposing, Johnny posed this one, so Johnny might have been on some other shit. I don't know. But like explicitly, whenever I'm having conversations, it's more of a seeking of like information, knowledge, and understanding, in which you like saying whatever your worldview is important to me because of like the most I'm gonna try and find is like maybe you have some fallacy, like logical fallacies, and I'll ask those questions about that. But I don't believe inside like I don't believe in disproving a person's worldview because that can drive a person crazy. Like I've seen what that can do. So I never try and do that. I am always open though for really, really good conversations in which I can be impacted and people that's listening can be impacted. And whether that's us as friend, like I stand inside a space that I am not personally dogmatic about any religion or belief system. Like I just listen and I consume. There's probably something that could probably convince me. I just ain't heard it yet.
I know it's
but I'll also tell you what's never going to win or win me over, or any person that's like somebody that's saying, hey, I am open, I just need to understand and learn, is a perspective that ends up being closed off to say that what I'm saying is right and you got to do the research, but I won't give you much information about that or reasons or why. And somebody that's selling a why will probably win that person. And I would just always challenge the idea of that. If there is like, again, I'll say like right now, I am inside a childless search for knowledge. Right? If Johnny sounds like he's inside, he's a child in his search for, I said childless, I meant child. Like a childful search for knowledge. Johnny sounds like he's inside a childful search for knowledge. What do you do with kids? You teach them. And you should look at that as an opportunity to teach, not to be offended, not to think of like these people are questioning
your beliefs.
It's a literal seeking of like all beliefs in general. And the most you can do is give like, hey, this is food. This is the food that you can eat. This is the knowledge that you can eat. Whether you eat it or not, that's on you. But I can say that I gave that to you. That's just my opinion. That's
hey, Tone, I got another one. And the reason, like, as a person who is firmly in his beliefs, we know where you stand. Somebody like me will come to you with the question because you have the knowledge. And like even when me and Trey was talking about this, I was like, damn, you gotta talk to Tone.
Yeah.
Because y'all would have a great conversation about this. Like, god damn, you and Tone, like, so like even when I came up with the question, I even told my dog, damn, I gotta get you a Tone because y'all on the same page with this. So like even me posing the question is like an admission of like, I know your belief. I know how devout you are. I know where you stand with it. I ain't questioning or trying to get you to come off where you are. I'm just seeking the knowledge. I just need to understand. And the way my brain works is I understand both sides. So I have to get all the facts to make the decision. And I'll make the decision. And what's right is right. And
hey, Antonio,
you give me the knowledge and you right, I'm be with you every fucking time, every day of the week.
I was gonna say this actually,
but Tone, this last like we patting you back. So like this would be my last piece to it that I think that you probably it'd be good for you to understand would be your space within your tribe, with your space within your community, right? So I think that sometimes you look at it as like there's an attack, where as Johnny just explicitly said, there's a lot of times this is a person of knowledge within this space that I'm going to approach with this conversation that can probably feed me some shit.
A resource.
But imagine if like your wisest eldestman tells you like, nah, you like go do whatever. Like you're looking for them to feed you. And that's sometimes like just a way of looking at it where to kind of approach a bit of these, because again, I can also understand that there's a lot of times these conversations happen in bad faith. And I know that none of us are having these conversations in bad faith. It's always inside like a general search for understanding. Whether like I disagree with most niggas most times. So you understand what, but at the same time, I typically don't have conversations in bad faith. And like if there's a space to get there, I would love to get there. And anytime I'm having especially a conversation about religion, never in bad faith. Like I would rather like hear things and probably maybe it can convince me, maybe it won't, whatever. But yeah, Tone.
So where I was gonna bring it full circle at is just even off of what I believe, y'all not wrong. So that like let me go ahead and set that straight there. Like y'all not wrong about what you're saying. Because as a believer, how I'm supposed to operate, and that's why I did try to bring that back around when y'all like after y'all said y'all comments in the first place. Because like even though you can be in the feelings of like you feel like you're being attacked, where my place really more comes from is like I really feel love for y'all. So it's like the fact that I believe what I believe, and it be like y'all so wrong about what you saying. That's where it comes from.
You want us to believe it too.
Yeah, I want y'all to know too, because it's like it'd be like if you know what I believe in, then it's like it's detrimental that y'all believe in this, because it's like that's where it comes
like
from.
Children.
But and that's the whole thing. It's like you're not wrong about that. That's actually how we're supposed to speak. It says that in the Bible even. Like we're supposed to speak in that way. And so that's why I said you're not wrong about that. And this is actually a good opportunity for the conversation to come full around. And even in my case, like this is like the Holy Spirit is using me right now for an example in which people can see that this conversation can be had. And Christians can understand that a lot of the reasons that Christians don't like to have these conversations is because they're not knowledgeable about stuff. They don't actually read the word, or they don't know what to tell you. And rather than saying they don't know or clarifying, even like sometimes the simplest belief is what I just explained at the end. And sometimes like we like to overcomplicate that as believers.
Facts.
And that's like what a lot of preachers even do, where they want to overcomplicate it. But the whole thing to Christianity, and the biggest thing in the good news, is all about Jesus. That's what and a lot of people ain't presenting the good news. Even in the Bible, when the disciples are going,
you say good, I don't know what that means.
Okay, so the good news is that that we're able to be forgiven for our sins by Christ. We don't have to make sacrifices anymore to be forgiven for our sins. Like they had to do in the Old Testament. The sacrifice has already been made. All we have to do is believe. And that belief in turn,
you're spreading the good news. Okay.
Yeah. And that belief in turn is what's going to change you on the inside. Not you trying to change yourself, but that belief in Christ, he's going to change you. And I do believe that, because I've been experiencing that. Like it's so much stuff that I don't do now that 10 years ago I would have done, or I was cool with, because of how my walk has been. So yeah, I would say this is a good conversation to come full around, because like as a believer, we do have to question that. We have to put ourselves in check sometimes.
No, I like that. You know,
Hey, this ended up being fire.
this was fire.
Yeah, this actually ended up being fire. I'm not mad.
This was definitely fire. I'm gonna hit my Keith Lee. We read the Bible. Let's try it and let's rate it 1 through 10.
Yeah, but I do want to end with still saying though, I would love if y'all actually like read or even some of the stuff. I can show you somebody who can help you a lot more than I can. Like where I studied from.
Hey,
and this,
Tone,
he's a
we'll do
good
that.
teacher.
No,
He's a good teacher.
We'll definitely do that.
Yeah, and
sure.
these videos, like this guy, the way he breaks stuff down in such detail where it's like the questions you have, he's gonna answer them. Like that's not necessarily my gift. I'm still working in that. And that's another portion that people have to admit. That's not necessarily my gift, but I'm working in that. And even like while I was sitting here, I had to pray about that God put me in check and give me the answers that I need to say in the way that I need to say it. So yeah, good conversation, fellas.
Hey, Tone, we appreciate you.
Sure,
for sure. Gotta say that. The OnlyFans link ain't ready, bro. Don't even do it. Like it ain't ready. I already see where you was finna go.
I prepped it early.
I already said it. I ain't got it ready yet. I ain't got it ready. I gotta get the verification. This some shit. I gotta. Yeah.
Damn it.
They told me I gotta read Genesis. I don't know, but
good time joke. That was a perfect joke.
I'm a wild boy, but hey, if y'all still watching, we appreciate y'all. Hey, please go ahead, hit that notification button, hit the subscribe button. Hey, tap in with us below. Tell us what are you a believer of? What's your religion? How do you feel? We touched a lot of topics today. Hey, let us know below. Please tap in. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Threads. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. It's the To Be Fair Show. I am your host, Johnny P.
Oh, hey, real. It's Q.
And we out.